focus determines your reality.
I am a Jedi, like my father before me.
Kid, I'm about to let everyone in on the secret.
Never tell me the odds.
Archive memory access. If an item does not appear in our records, it does not exist.
Hello there, and welcome back to Tales from the Archives.
Today, we are pleased to be discussing and covering Star Wars Shadow of the Sith by Adam Christopher.
If you've already read the book, then you're good to go. And if you haven't, no worries, because we've prepared this brief summary so that you too can be part of the fun.
Plus, stay tuned as we're giving away 2 copies of the book throughout our discussion.
So sit back, grab your Mantel mix, and enjoy this recap of Adam Christopher's Star Wars Shadow of the Sith.
We start the story 17 years after the Battle of Endor, as Dathan, Miramir, and their daughter Rey are being chased from Jakku by hunters working for the Sith Eternal.
Dathan is a genetically spliced strand-cast clone of Emperor Palpatine, but he's not Force-sensitive like his father, and as a young boy, he escaped the distant and ancient Sith planet of Exegol, blending in with the greater galaxy.
As they're attacked by hunters in wild space, they are saved by the New Republic and sent to a contact for protection.
Elsewhere on a junk moon, Ochi of Bestoon, an old Jedi hunter, is ravenously searching for a wayfinder in order to reach Exegol. Sith cultists and a masked woman with a red saber call upon him to hunt the family and find the girl, giving him an ancient Sith dagger.
Ochi goes to get some assistance from some old friends on Boxer Point Station. However, Lando Calrissian is there too, and he overhears Ochi's drunken ramblings about kidnapping a young girl. He hopes this lead will help him find his long-lost daughter, Kadara Calrissian.
Lando calls up his old buddy Shreve from Battlefront 2, inquiring about the family Ochi mentions, and decides that it's time to go check in with his longtime pal Luke Skywalker about this Sith business.
Jedi Master Luke Skywalker has been having visions of a dark, ancient planet, one he's never seen before. His friend, Lor San Tekka, asks him to come along to a dig site to a planet called Yoturba, to which Luke agrees.
While there, they find a destroyed Sith holocron, and one of the archaeologists is possessed by a dark spirit as he uncovers a cloister of red lightsaber crystals. Luke saves the man and then takes these findings to Tython for greater study.
On the Seeing Stone of Tython, Luke meditates on these items as well as some of his own research, but he's mentally transported to Exegol, being attacked by the incorporeal forms of Sith cultists.
Unable to beat them, Luke is saved by the ghost of his father, Anakin Skywalker. His father pulls Luke back to Tython, but before fading away, he warns Luke of a great disturbance in the Force.
As Anakin's spirit fades away, Lando arrives on Tython.
Luke and Lando team up, informing each other of what they each know, and decide to go to the New Republic, which is unwilling to help. Thankfully, Shreve finds out where this hunted family has gone.
Dathan, Miramir, and Rey arrive at the mining colony on Nightside. They meet their contact, Zargo Anaximander, who's less than thrilled to help them without some sort of compensation.
Zargo contacts Ochi, the latter sending droid forces to take them, but Zargo decides they might be worth more to himself, so he relocates them to his personal yacht, the Goldstone.
Luke and Lando arrive at Nightside as well, trying to find the family. Ochi's hired droid army invades the station, so the heroes decide to split up, with Lando and R2 going to help the family, and Luke following the disturbance in the Force.
Lando finds the Goldstone, helping the family get out of the Nightside, telling them he'll come get them in the rings of the system after the attack has subsided.
Being led by his senses, Luke finds the masked woman, who expresses her need for the crystals that Luke found on Yoturba. He can obviously tell, though, that the mask is controlling her actions. She flees during the chaos of the droid attack, and Luke is quickly rescued by Lando.
Waiting for Lando, Dathan and his family are forced to jump to hyperspace as the hunters find the family using a hyperwave emitter that Zargo gave the hunters before being slain by Ochi.
Figuring their next moves, Lando and Luke are able to surmise that the family and the hunters jumped to the Tyrannoteer system using the scan of the Goldstone's fuel levels analyzed by R2.
Tracking their targets to the planet, Luke and Lando encounter and defeat the hunters, but they find the family has already left.
Away from the hunters, Miramir removes the hyperwave emitter that allows them to be tracked. Dathan and Miramir make the hard call that they have to hide Rey for her safety. They decide to head to a fueling station where they can lure Ochi in and steal his ship, stranding him in the process so they can buy some time.
Ochi, frustrated with the failure of his hired droid army, needs more backup. the Sith Eternal send him to an agent where he attains a small army of corporate sector authority troopers. This agent, however, puts a tracker on Ochi's ship before he leaves.
Meanwhile, Luke and Lando are stumped. They decide together that they should go after the masked Sith woman, who is likely the boss of Ochi, and cut it off from the top.
Luke knows someone from his past, an ex-acolyte of the Beyond named Comat, who can track ships and might know who the masked woman is. Getting a faster ship, the Star Herald, they head back to Comat's Hermitage on Polar.
Comat, willing to help, reveals that the masked woman is an old acolyte of the Beyond named Kiza, who was long thought dead. The mask, which belonged to an ancient Sith Lord named Viceroy Exum Panchard, has taken over her and is causing her to do his bidding.
Comat tracks the signature of the ship with some hidden techniques and R2's help, but the group is attacked by droids sent by Kiza for the crystals Luke possesses. The droids are defeated, with Luke going after Kiza and Lando and Comat going after the family.
Lando and Comat find the fueling station swarming with CSA, but notice the family has disguised themselves as officers and make it to Ochi's ship, taking off with a helpful distraction from Lando.
Elsewhere, Luke confronts Kiza in her hideout inside an old Lucrehulk core, repeatedly trying to save her from Exum Panchard. Luke, believing she's killed and the mask nowhere to be found, escapes the base before being hailed by Lando for backup.
However, some leftover droids in the facility use the kyber crystals within their chassis to bejewel the mask, which allows the spirit of Panchard to possess Kiza's deceased body. Exum Panchard then tracks Luke to the fueling station.
Back at the fueling station, while watching the Goldstone for signs of Ochi, Lando and Comat are taken hostage. Luke arrives at the last minute, saving them and dueling Ochi before he escapes in a CSA transport. Panchard arrives quickly after.
Luke and Comat, along with her droid, chase Kiza to a nearby moon, while Lando has to wait for R2 to run the algorithm to track Ochi.
While confronting Panchard, Luke realizes that the Sith Lord wants to use the crystals to reach Exegol. Comat and Luke, along with the help of some of the moon's serpents, destroy the crystals, destroy the mask, and finally defeat Exum Panchard.
Ochi desperately returns to the CSA and his contact to beg for help. Disdainfully, the agent gives the location of Ochi's ship using the tracker he put on it. Ochi's vessel is on Jakku.
Dathan and Mir painfully leave Rey on Jakku, hoping to return when it's safe. They head off planet, but are quickly intercepted in orbit by Ochi. They're killed, and their bodies are dumped into the vacuum of space.
Before they're dumped, however, Ochi notices that Mir clutches a necklace from Pisana, which she hastily grabbed in Unkar Plot's shop.
In both a fit of rage and drunkenness, Ochi jumps to Pisana, but succumbs to the madness of the Sith dagger, sinking into the sands of the Forbidden Valley.
Lando discovers the bodies of Dathan and Mir. Distraught and uncertain as to what has happened, he, Luke, and Comat bury them on the planet Neftali, with all leads of Ochi dried up.
After some time to recover, Lando gets a lead from an old Bespin connection. Ochi's ship was spotted on Pisana. Luke and Lando both go, but ultimately find nothing significant.
Lando decides to stay, not only hoping to find Ochi and the missing girl, but also potentially his missing daughter.
And that is how Shadow of the Sith concludes. Now that we're all caught up, let's head into the live discussion.
What are you most afraid of?
Without the Jedi, there can be no balance.
Luke and I were telling an old Jedi hunter, Ochi of Bestoon. He was carrying a clue that could lead to a wayfinder. Excellent.
Hello there, and welcome back to Tales from the Archives. Let me fix this orientation. Thank you, Will. Appreciate you.
Hello. Didn't see you there, Grayson. How you doing?
We are all back in the saddle finally after some time talking about Shadow of the Sith by Adam Christopher. Hope you enjoyed the comprehensive recap that we all did collaboratively with all four of us. I got all these copies of this book, man.
Sorry, I only have one, Grayson. I didn't know this was a 3-book kind of show.
I also have one back there too. Anyway, Will, you're muted, by the way.
It's a good thing I didn't say nothing.
I wanted you to say something.
Hey, everybody.
Chat, thank you all for being here. I know that the chats are split between Focus Squadron and the what is y'all's crew called, Connor?
The Duners.
Okay, I was going to
call
them
campaigned for the homies at home, but they all kind of named themselves the Duners.
You're not a Duner?
Yeah, come on.
I thought they were the Dune Seers, but I guess Duners is funnier. It's kind of cool.
The Dune Squad?
It's not as cool as Focus Squadron, but hey,
Hey, one day Focus Squadron will grace its presence in the Dune. I guess, is that what's happening right now? I don't know.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. You parked out in the Dune Sea for a chat about this book.
Shout out to Sith. Yeah. Before we get too far into it, we get into our thoughts. Like I said in the beginning of our little recap, I've got 2 copies to give away. This one right here is signed, which is really cool. Found a signed copy at Legacy Expo in California, and I was like, well, getting that for the stream. Stay tuned. You got to be here to win the copy, but we'll keep you posted. And should we check in with the chat and check in with the chat briefly, or do you want to just go ahead and jump right into it?
Yeah, we can say what's up to everybody who's here quick.
Cool.
Hi, chat. Thanks for being here.
Hello. There's a lot going on during the discussion. I'll start off with Matthew Green. It's actually 17 years after Endor, so that would be about 21 ABY. Someone was asking how many years after ABY. I believe this is 21 ABY.
It's like 13 years before Force Awakens, right? Something like that.
Yeah. Because Ben Solo is like 16 and Rey is 6. Yeah. So, you're about to hear our thoughts in just a second, Nerdy Seb. I thought his name was Lore Sancteca. Honestly, they're probably intentional, but he's a cool character. I do enjoy him. And kind of the reason why we're doing this, that thank you for being here, Moth 17, is this is the day before. I can go and show this because some stores are already selling it early, but Master of Evil comes out tomorrow, which is Adam Christopher's new Darth Vader book. I just started it a little bit this weekend. Really cool stuff.
Yeah, dude.
So
if you didn't know, he also wrote this book, by the way.
Yep.
That's the connection. That's the bridging of the gap there. So yeah. This is a very nice comment, by the way. Thank you for saying that. I would love people to say just before, after, or in the comments, if you're watching the VOD, if you liked the recap being at the beginning. As you know, people who have been with Tales from the Archives for a little while, we used to do them throughout the stream, but we found it kind of stagnated the conversation. And when we did Revenge of the Sith back in May, which was the last Tales from the Archives we did, we just loved the kind of natural discussion we had there. So we decided, why don't we just get all the plot out of the way in the beginning and just kind of hop right into it, which I guess is what we should do right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm gonna pass the torch. We'll do it counterclockwise. I'm gonna go last. What did everybody think of this book? Connor, you start.
Can I go last? I don't want to go first.
Will, you start. You go, Will.
Okay. I have listened to this audiobook and read this book total for both of those mediums probably 11 times through. We decided to do this, and I read through the book. And then while I read, I usually, as everybody in here knows, and people in chat may or may not know, I'm a big head with a small brain, so I need to listen to the stuff that I'm reading. So I listen to the audiobook as well. And then after that, anytime I would get into the car, I would just put on this audiobook. And I got through it, no lie, another like 8 or 9 times. So, and I had already read the book 3 years ago when it came out. So this book is one of the most fun and most enjoyable pieces of Star Wars lore that truly I have ever read. I love this book so much. Obviously, Luke Skywalker's on the cover. I love Luke Skywalker. What do you want? This is so such a cool Luke Skywalker story, and he's not even technically the main character. It jumps around to other POVs and other characters as well. So, and honestly, all of those characters get their own piece, and everybody who's introduced or given context to in terms of who we see, like Ochi of Bestoon, really cool character. We get like a frame of him and then the hologram and his bones in Rise of Skywalker. So like, it's cool to like get that context. And Grayson and I were talking to another creator last night for an interview that'll come out later, but we were all kind of in agreement, and I know you guys kind of feel the same way, that when more context is given to Star Wars, it just makes Star Wars better. And this book isn't just to look, a lot of people, when they talk about stuff like books or anything that happens in the sequels or something that happens in between, a lot of times people just go, oh, they just put that out to fix stuff, right? This book does add a lot of incredible context to the sequels and that time, but that's definitely not its goal. It's just a really good story. So yeah, this is a 11 out of 10 book for me in terms of Star Wars. When we started this, 2 years ago now, reading books?
Yeah.
I really wanted this on the list, so I am so stoked we finally got to do it as a group.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to just say, like, I want to ask you, Will, before we pass it to Seth, because you, I think, were the only person who, prior to us kind of tentatively planning that we were doing this book, had read the book.
Yeah.
Did you find reading it more increased your enjoyment of it?
Yeah, honestly, I think that's kind of the way with all Star Wars, I feel like. Especially, for somebody like me rewatching the sequels, since the sequels have come out, every time I rewatch them, I find more and more that I like about them. So this book is truly no different. And yeah, it's a technical sequels era book. Ben Solo's in the book. Luke Skywalker is older. Lando's older. It's majorly referenced in The Rise of Skywalker, but I wouldn't consider this necessarily a sequels book. It takes place, like we said, over a decade before The Force Awakens comes out. It's just truly, every time I listen or read this book, I'm probably going to take a break for a little bit, to be honest, after this conversation. But every time I revisit this story, more is added, and it's just truly, I wish more stuff was like this book.
Yeah.
Like if this is the standard, and I love Star Wars books. We read a lot of Star Wars books on here. We consume a lot of that content. But truly, this is, for me personally, the standard when it comes to Star Wars books, especially in this new era.
Sure. Yeah. Seth?
So, I liked this book.
Woo!
That being said, I really liked the front half of this book. I thought that it really loses some footing the back half of the book.
I agree.
Personally. Yeah. I think this thing's biggest strength is the fact that it's not afraid to reference Star Wars.
Yeah.
Guys, what a novel concept.
Right.
The Star Wars references itself, because we got references to prequels, the original trilogy, the sequel, Mandalorian, Grogu, and that era. And then of all things, Battlefront 2.
Yeah, dude.
God, all of that is accounted for. That is so refreshing that Star Wars isn't scared to reference itself.
Yeah.
So that being said, though, I think this book really does lose its footing, the back half of the book, because I think the beginning is awesome. Yeah. Like I am here for it for the whole first half of the book, but the back half is a little rough. So we'll leave it at that.
Yeah, we'll get into it. We'll get into it.
Yeah, we'll get into it. But yeah, that's my But
yeah.
Overall, I did like it. So yes.
And to give some context, why me and Will were jokingly screaming in joy is that Seth, I think we've just got on an unlucky streak. Maybe other than Revenge of the Sith, and you like Plagueis as well. Pretty much all
Plagueis.
Yeah,
we were plagued with books that I hated.
We'd start all these, and all of us would be like, "This is great," and Seth would be like, "This sucks, guys."
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I think the only one that we all collectively were not hot on was Dark Disciple. We were like,
Yeah, that was the one none of us liked.
We were like, okay. Well, I mean, both Will and Seth said it very well. So, obviously, Revenge of the Sith was the last book that we did. In that time, so I went from Revenge of the Sith to this book. And then after we kind of got busy this summer with Rebel Scum Con and just both of our respective shows, which you should be subscribed for just Focus Squadron people, go sub to be on the Dune Sea. You don't have to, and then unsub to us. I'm just kidding.
Get over there to Will the Force and Mortis FM.
Yes,
go become a member of Focus Squadron.
Yes,
we could use you in the not helping this couple on the run from the Sith. Bozo New Republic. Anyway.
Yeah, exactly. That wasn't us.
I don't buy it. That ain't me, bro. But so in between that time, I've read a handful of other books, just kind of like just casually. I was like, I'm just going to read these in my free time since we're not doing anything. And they were books that I didn't think we would probably get around to anytime soon on here. So I was like, I'm just going to listen to them. So I think by this point this year, I have read 8 or 9 Star Wars books, I think, which is pretty good. This is definitely, in terms of the ones that we have, not even just that I've read this year, but in the past 2 years that we have started doing this, this is definitely one of my favorites. Now, it is not without its flaws. Like Seth said, the back half, there's some parts that it definitely feels like it can be. There's some parts that I feel like it kind of glances over, and there's other parts that I think it stays on to for too long. But I do think it also kind of services to like the bittersweet ending of like knowing it's going to kind of end abruptly, like knowing that these characters, specifically with Dathan and Mir, are going to have an unceremonious end, which I think works. And I was kind of like, here's what I'll say is since we started this has been one of the most anticipated books I have been wanting to do on this. And when I finished the book, I was satisfied, but it was bittersweet because one, I finished the book and I'd been looking forward to reading this book for so long, but it was also bittersweet because I was like, personally for me, this is going to be my bold hot take here at the beginning. Dathan and Mir are one of my favorite Star Wars couples ever. I love them. I would say they're my third favorite in all of Star Wars. That being Kanan and Hera, Han and Leia. Get out of here, Anakin and Padme. You're lame. Just
You're
kidding.
lame.
Whoa, I'm surprised Mara and Luke didn't make your list.
Maybe. I'm talking. Maybe when I read more of those books and stuff, but from the stuff that we've read, I haven't seen them a lot as a couple. But either way, I love the different perspectives, and what I told Will a couple weeks ago is I blitzed through like the last 300 pages of this book in like 5 days, which is like pretty atypical for me. Like I'm kind of a slower reader. I just went so quickly through it, and I texted Will, and I was like, I'm going to make sure I bring up this like every perspective. Every chapter, there was not a character where I was like, man, I don't want to be reading about this character. Like, there was every character was fascinating to me, especially because we did the Thrawn trilogy earlier this year, and there are that trilogy gets a lot of hype. It was an enjoyable trilogy. I'm glad I read it. That being said, specifically in Last Command, that first 3 quarters of that book, there were so many perspectives that I did not give a crap about. And I was like, and so it was very refreshing to me to be like, wow, I care about Dathan and Mir. Wow, I actually kind of enjoy reading about Ochi because he's kind of an insane lunatic, but he's super cool to read about. The other villain, the Sith in this book, is so cool. We'll talk about it later. But one of my favorite concepts. I love when Star Wars gets ancient and mythical, and it nailed that for me. This is by no means not my favorite Star Wars book. But if we are talking in the pantheon of strictly canon novels that I have read, this is my favorite canon novel.
Absolutely.
Revenge of the Sith is kind of in its own tier where it's like, it's kind of in that like nebulous where it's like, it's legends. It's also canon, like Revenge of the Sith is my favorite Star Wars book of all time. So not including that, this is probably my favorite adult canon novel in Star Wars. Now I'm scared because I feel like Connor's going to tear this book apart.
So, okay, look, I was like all of you. I read this right after Revenge of the Sith, but I read up until about like chapter 15. And then that was when things started to get busy. I'm like, okay, I'm going to wait because I want this to be fresher in my mind, and I'll pick it back up. I was down. I'm like, this is great.
Yeah.
Every character is interesting. I love how it opens. I was here for it. It hurt me not to continue it at that moment, but I'm like, okay, I'm the kind of person, I'm a fast reader. And so I read basically this whole book the last like 2 days. So I don't like to read things well in advance because then it starts to slip from my mind. I like it to be a little more fresh. So I picked it back up, and the further I went, and this is why I wanted to go last, because I knew that both Grayson and Will, you guys really love this, and I didn't want to be the Debbie Downer, but I did not care for this that much, and I'm really sad to say that, because I was really hyped. I love Luke. I don't know that I'm quite Will level in terms of Luke fanboy, but I'm close. I don't have the tattoo, but Luke's my guy. I love Luke. And the positives, I'll say, the characters were awesome. Yeah. All the characters were well written. They had their own unique voice. Like you said, Grayson, there wasn't a perspective that I wasn't looking forward to getting. I guess my main issue with the book is that when it's not trying to bend over backwards to bridge the sequels, I'm here for it. But I think that sometimes the sequels are like an anchor to this book that drags down what is otherwise a really cool story, in my opinion. And that's not even because I don't like the sequels or anything like that. I just think there are some threads that I'm like, that's how we're bridging that gap. Interesting. And I could get more into that later, but it's just, that's how I felt, especially toward the back half, where a lot of these things weren't getting resolved because we got to place the puzzle pieces or the chess pieces to Rise of Skywalker for Force Awakens. And so, the main thing with Lando, you do get an ending with Lando that it's sweet, but he also kind of fails everybody in a lot of ways. And that's really sad. And Luke gets his victory, but I'm confused about some other things with Luke's victory. And that's kind of cool, but there's just a lot of little things where I'm like, I feel like this was only in here because it's in Rise of Skywalker. Like you trim all that out and it's just about Exum Panshard, Kaiza, and about trying to like Ochia Bestoon. I'm all here for that. That stuff was so cool. I loved the stuff with Exum and the mask and Darth Noctis's lightsaber. All of that was awesome. In fact, my favorite scene from the book was either the scene where Luke faces off against Panchard both times. Those were both great. Or him at the archaeological site toward the front of the book. I loved both of those things so much. But like I said, and like we'll kind of get into, it's I just feel like there are a lot of moments where I'm like, that doesn't make sense. And I'll give you just a brief example because I know we're going to talk about this. But the scene with Anakin Skywalker, I'm like, why didn't you tell him about Palpatine? Like we know that's there. Like you guys are in communication about Exegol. Yeah. And it just feels like it just feels weird to me. I don't know.
So my question is so I wanted to bring this up as well. So Shadow of the Sith is heavily connected to the 2020 Vader run. Yep. Ochi is a big player character in that, his backstory and his desire for Exegol. And of course, a big controversial point in that run is that Vader goes to Exegol. However, I have recently found out that he does not figure out about Palpatine's plan to clone himself. Now, he sees a hand, but he doesn't know it succeeds. He thinks it fails. So Anakin doesn't know about that. And the fact that Anakin is like glitching in and out of the netherworld of the Force and Exegol is this abyss, I don't think he would know about it. And so I actually this book fixed that for me a little bit. I did some research and because that was bothering me. I was like, why does that not the case? I'm like, they're literally talking about Vader going to Exegol. He knows about the Star Destroyers, but he doesn't know, other than he sees the Luke's hand in a vat. And he knows that they're doing
scalpel of creation, right?
Yeah, but I don't think Vader actually knows what Palpatine is doing about the cloning stuff. I don't know. Will?
So, Grayson, you and I kind of had a conversation about something very similar to this in the new Legacy of Vader issue 10 that just came out. With what's referred to as the netherworld of the Force, right? Mm-hmm. There's a panel where they go in. And Kylo Ren is there, and he sees a ton of Force ghosts, right? Or what we assume to be Force ghosts. It's kind of like this Valhalla situation.
Yeah.
And there was a tweet that came out that it was like the netherworld of the Force has for the first time been realized in Legacy of Vader issue 10. And Grayson, you sent it to me of like, what? Like that's very cool that's it. But you and I both kind of agreed that like,
because we had read it prior and that was not our interpretation. Is
that just how the Force is presenting to Ben Solo, Kylo Ren in that moment? And I think when it comes to Force Ghosts, at least this is my interpretation of it, a lot of times the basis for Force Ghosts is we think of Ben Kenobi sitting on a log talking to Luke Skywalker in Return of the Jedi, right?
Yeah.
We assume that is 100% Ben Kenobi. He is fully conscious within the Force. He knows what's going on. But I think what's weird about Force Ghosts is like then you also get like an Anakin world between worlds situation where he's like, that's not technically a Force ghost, but like he's being vague about things. And when Ahsoka asks questions, he's like kind of giving a question back a lot of the time in conversation.
Right.
Of like, so something like, why wouldn't Anakin tell Luke in that moment? For me, it's like, it's kind of the same argument of like, when Luke is taking off the helmet in Return of the Jedi, why didn't Vader, his final breath, he probably went to Exegol, and then he just dies.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
Like it's just it's a weird thing. Like for us, we're like, that's probably a really important thing, right? But for a Force ghost that like we don't really have concrete examples of how those beings present themselves, if they are even those actual beings. It's the Force allowing them to be there. So really the Force is kind of at work there, that being that what I think of a lot is in Revenge of the Sith, the novelization, when Obi-Wan talks about the Force as like Obi-Wan's not even there, it's the river flowing through him, right?
Right, yeah.
That's kind of how I feel about the Force Ghost thing, because maybe it is Ben Kenobi in Return of the Jedi, but is it just the Force giving Luke a version of Ben that he would listen to in that moment? You know what I mean? So
it also is interesting because specifically in this scene, what we have not noticed, and I think is extremely cool, is he goes in between Sebastian Shaw and Hayden Christensen.
Really cool,
right? Yeah,
yeah. Like
cool.
he's like so. I love me a good physical copy, guys. I'm not gonna lie. I read this one physical because I usually read on Kindle, but it's so easy to flip around. I'm going to read this like brief passage. It's like, his spirit flickered, faded, flickered. As Luke watched, another man seemed to appear between the blinks of an eye, superimposed over the vision of Anakin as a young man before his fall to the dark side. Someone older, a calm, benign face, the face revealed beneath Vader's mask by Luke so many years ago on a battle station long since destroyed, and then it was gone, if it had ever been there and not just another vision in Luke's mind. So there's something going on as well with this disturbance, like affecting Anakin being able to present, because chat would love to know this, and I can research as well. I also actually have the Darth Vader comic back there, so I'm going to go back and double check real quick here in a second, because it was in issue 10 of 2020 that it happened. Is Ahsoka in this book the only? Oh, and in the end of Return of the Jedi, the only times we've ever seen Anakin as a Force ghost?
There's that post Return of the Jedi comic as well, or like right before Return of the Jedi, where Luke sees like an image and he's talking, and it's not Anakin realized, but it's more like the silhouette of Anakin in light. You know what I'm talking about?
Okay.
It's from the comic. It's before Return of the Jedi. It's before.
Oh, you're talking about when he's like.
It's like issue 48 or 49 of the Star Wars run that just ended, where he's like, we were figuring out whether or not he's going to get his crystal.
Yeah.
He like sees Anakin, but it's Clone Wars Anakin, but it's really just his silhouette in light.
Mm-hmm.
So, but that's also like within that nether world that he's kind of in at that moment. So I guess that counts.
Yeah, it's a string. Here, y'all keep talking. I'm gonna go get the comic real quick because Connor, I know you have thoughts. I'll be right back.
Connor, were you going to say that new comic that just came out too for the Anakin thing, where it's like super stylized art?
There was one. It had nothing to do with. It was like new characters that they see Anakin, right? I'm having vague recollections of it. I don't know. I'd have to look it up. I'm not sure. I remember seeing. It's not super new, but it's something within the last few years, I thought. But anyway, I don't want to break down anybody's fun. I just that's my
no. I mean,
thoughts
it is absolutely a valid thing to be like, hey, we have the impression that somebody who is literally the right-hand man of this person would have this information, right? Why wouldn't he give it to the one person who would need the information? But it's like,
yeah, and that's great info. I didn't realize that that he didn't know about the actual cloning thing. Yeah, I guess I just assumed that he did because he was on there. But I really like that scene, though. I wasn't.
It's cool.
Like that scene in the book is really, really cool, where Anakin saves Luke. I mean, I've wanted that forever. Them to talk.
Yeah.
Post Return of the Jedi, and that was an awesome. And really, that's what I would say for this book for me. Even though I didn't enjoy it as a complete package, there are scenes I'm like, man, this is good stuff. Like this is awesome. I love how Luke's characterized. I like how Lando's characterized. Kaisa's a really fun character. A lot of it's really cool. It's just like I said, it didn't come together for me, but I'd be curious to hear some of your guys' thoughts, because I also kind of feel like maybe I'm missing something. I felt that as I got to the end, I'm like, did I just not pick up on something? Because I know everybody loves this book, and so I kind of feel left out of the club. So I'm very excited to hear everybody's thoughts, because I don't want to be the Debbie Downer. So anyway,
okay, I found the comic. I picked these up because of this book, actually, which is always fun. Yeah, you mentioned the scalpel of creation. So he defeats that kaiju thing, which is just bonkers. Very over the top, good old Marvel comics. And then he lands on Exegol with Ochi. Palpatine is there, and then Palpatine is like talking to him and then he's like, Vader's like walking through Exegol, and then the scalpel of creation. There's a bunch of like kind of looking Snokes, but not entirely. Like they're just kind of people. Right. I used it to make all of these things. I can use it to make anything. And then Ochi's like, I thought there were only Sith. Vader fights these like Sentinel dudes, and then he kills all these cultists. Like he takes their knives from their hands and like kills all of them. Only 2 Sith, just as you say, but any one of these might replace you, and he kills them all. And then he shows them the Star Destroyers. Like the fleet of the Star Destroyers being equipped with the red super lasers. And he shows them the giant crystal that Ochi wants that burned him. Like that it screams out. Ochi gets scorched right here. So there you go. There's his backstory of him getting good old sizzled. Sizzled. And then Palpatine's monologuing. He's talking about you need this is the only way you can share my power, search your feelings. So yeah, that's the only inkling of the clonings. He sees like the people, but they're not Palpatine clones. He's just like, I can make whatever I want, basically.
Sure. I guess I just inferred, which is on me. I get that.
No, I thought that was the thing, is I thought the same thing, because when you get to the chapter with Dathan escaping Exegol, I was like, okay, what's the deal? I'm like, this literally happens when Vader and Ochi get to Exegol. Yeah. They land, they're walking through, and then he like runs away, you know? And I'm like, right. So why would he not know? And then I did some research and I looked at the summaries and I was like, okay, like he sees the vats, but I guess like maybe from Vader's perspective, like Vader and maybe Master of Evil has some stuff in here as well that I'd be intrigued to know about with I get that. I'm like, maybe there's some more there, but I'm like, I guess maybe from Vader, like Palpatine always kind of keeps Vader at arm's length. If like, right, sure. So I'm like, maybe he doesn't, I don't know. It's something that I think, now that I've read this book and I've done a little bit of research, I'm like, I actually feel a little bit better about, but I'm like, I need to know a little bit more. So I get why the Anakin Force Scope thing, you're like, man, this is cool, but like, hopefully that makes it better for you, I guess.
Well, to be fair, to be charitable to the book again, I agree with what Will was saying, where like a Force Ghost is sort of a cosmic being too, where they're like, I don't want to call them gods, but they have that kind of eternal sort of omnipresent, omniscient sort of understanding in a way where, you know, they're not going to, so I could believe that even if Anakin did know about the cloning, he could see into the future and says, hey, this isn't your fight though. So I'm not going to burden you with this knowledge because this isn't for you. Now this fight with X and Panchar, this is your fight. So I'm going to give you some info about that. But
yeah,
maybe he knows a little bit and can guide like, this is Rey's fight down the line. Right. So we can...
Go ahead, Seth.
Well, I wanted to point out too that like, I think that there's a point to the fact that like, we don't ever see Vader in like Bad Batch with Project Necromancer. Yeah. But I think that like Vader's always been away from it, if that makes sense in one way or another. Yeah. And like, they made a point not to bring him up bring him into Bad Batch, but we did see the Emperor. So that makes, and then two, I guess I kind of always have seen the Force Ghost, kind of like what you were just saying, like kind of like how Gandalf, I was
going to bring up Gandalf.
Yeah. Yes, Gandalf doesn't give you the, he doesn't give you the answers. Like he, like I like the fact that like, they're in Moria, the Balrog shows up. Gandalf doesn't just straight up just like shoot a blast through the Balrog. He almost tries to have the Balrog defeat itself. All he does is he can break the bridge. He can like, I think the Force Ghosts are kind of like that in a sense.
Yeah.
That, like all they can do is like push things in the right direction. Yeah. And it's like, hey,
because also like I would think
in the sails.
Because I also think about like with Obi-Wan and Return of the Jedi of like, it feels like that Ben's knowledge when he's talking to Luke is pretty limited. Like it's almost just kind of like, well, this is just him now. Like it's like he never left sort of thing. And he's like, you've got to kill Vader, man. You got to kill Vader. And it's like, I guess in my mind, I'm like, wouldn't Obi-Wan at that point be like, oh no, Vader can be saved? So it's like, it's that whole like,
but maybe by giving him that, it's never going to make perfect sense.
No.
It's outside of our scope of understanding, so we can only make approximations and guesses and things like that. But we don't have to linger on the Force Ghost thing too long, though.
For
my sake. That's my favorite part of the book, so I was hoping we would bring it up.
Okay.
So I'm going to say one thing, and then actually that's a great point. I'd love to hear everybody's specific favorite part of the book. But the one thing that I will notice is in this chapter, I believe it is when they're having the conversation right after. So chapter 13, like Anakin is being very like cagey, it seems, when he's talking. He like, and it gives me the impression, like the way I interpreted it is that something is affecting his existence in the Force, and it is this shadow. It is, and I think part of me maybe assumes that I'm like, yes, Exum Panchard is one thing, or at least that's what Luke assumes, right? Oh, it's Exum, I took care of that, it's gone now. But he's like, what does Anakin say right here? He's like, I felt it grow in the Force. It approaches, take care, my son. This is actually a really cool line from Anakin. Hell has many names, Luke. The Seeing Stone took a part of you there, but it has taken all that I can give to bring you back. So again, it's also another thing, and I'm like, that is interesting because it's like in Ahsoka, it's a little bit different where it's like Anakin's just like, zoop, So, I don't know. It's part of me is like sometimes I don't want to say frustrated. Sometimes I get boggled of like, man, like how do Force Ghosts work? And also, I kind of love that we never do like they never do have rules, I guess, which I think makes it more interesting. I do think. If anyone is to have a weird, what do you call it? Like a weird middle ground or like different exception of the rules to the Force Ghost thing, it would be Anakin with that like weird dark side, light side, especially within Ahsoka, him flipping to Vader or at least to teach that lesson, I guess. It's, I would love to know from Adam Christopher, like if he could divulge like what Lucasfilm was like, hey, this is the boundaries, but I don't think we'll ever get that. Interesting. Yeah. Yes, Will.
I would love to know, somebody hit the Will bringing up Ahsoka button. I would love to know if there were any parameters set knowing that Anakin was going to end up being in the Ahsoka series.
Yeah.
Because this book came out 3 years ago, which would have been around the same time that show was being worked on.
So like a year before, that it came out.
So I'm really, and obviously Filoni had that story, and he would have known well beyond that series being worked on that he wanted Hayden to come back in some sort of Anakin thing. Like he plans his stories pretty far in advance, especially when it comes to his baby Ahsoka. But like, I really would love to know if there were any parameters set because of that, especially thinking about season 2 with everybody being like, oh, Anakin's going to take the place of the father. And like, there's all the weird Mortis stuff going on. And then I also think about like, if like there's a weird Mortis side of things with like that being the reason why he shifted there's a the shift between like him not being able to like phase in 100% like completely there. And I also think about like the way Qui-Gon appears on Mortis to Obi-Wan, where Obi-Wan's asking him questions and he's also not really giving him the answers there.
Mm-hmm.
Like his sentences and his responses, kind of like Anakin in the World Between Worlds, are almost more question inducing than answer giving in that moment as well, of like, Qui-Gon, are you really here? Master, is that really you? And Qui-Gon's more just like getting to the point with what he wants to say rather than being able to like have a conversation, which like I brought up earlier with like Ben being on the log with Luke, like that's more of a conversation there. So it's a weird thing, but I don't know if we really are ever going to know. I would love to watch Ahsoka season 2 next year and be like, oh, that's why Anakin can do what he can do within the Force Ghost realm. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Which it's also interesting because it literally, the end of the chapter, he pulls out his lightsaber.
Yeah.
Like in like this like mental image thing, he like pulls out a blue blade and Luke thinks it's Ben.
Yep.
Very
Right.
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which I guess kind of lines up with World Between Worlds. But yes, Seth.
Yeah.
So I was curious what your guys' thoughts were with the fact that like, so he's flickering. Did anybody else get that, like the concept art from Force Awakens?
Force Awakens.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm like, do you think it's a callback to that? Because that's just kind of what I always thought, like equated it to. It was like, okay, so there's this idea. I'm going to rework that idea.
That's exactly what I thought. Yeah.
Okay. That was kind of what I was thinking.
Because when it said the flickering, I was like, oh, they're literally doing the Force Awakens thing. But then it was like, oh, they're flickering to the old man version. I was like, oh, they're kind of like making both versions of Return of the Jedi canon, I guess, which is kind of cool. Like the way Force Ghost can present itself. Like it's fun. But yeah, when I read it, I was like, oh, they're doing the Force Awakens. Because it wasn't it like the story beat was going to be that the ghost of Anakin was going to be like flickering between Anakin and Vader and talking to Kylo.
Kind of like what he does in the World Between Worlds, similar. They're like, it's like he's neither Anakin nor Vader because his spirit like is in turmoil. Yeah. But I just figured it was some sort of recycled idea from that.
Yeah.
So
I definitely think so.
I don't know how this is going to pop up, but I'm.
Oh, my bad.
No, sorry. This is the.
Yeah, there it is.
Yep, that.
That's such a cool image.
That's crazy, dude.
Anakin Skywalker, because he does flow back and forth between Darth Vader and Anakin. Let's see him as a character with a dark and light side. The reason Luke is this whole new entity is because he was the first to acknowledge his own dark side. That is what not separate. Was not separate from him. Oh,
it was not separate from him.
Yeah. So
that's Ian McKay who did that artwork too. From
really cool.
That's cool. That actually, that's hearing that little blurb. I'm going to be honest. When we got to this book, I knew Ahsoka was going to come up because this is one thing I was going to say is the first half of this book plays like a Disney Plus show to me. Like I don't know what it is, but like the opening chapter,
back half of this book feels like Clone Wars, like just a Clone Wars episode.
Oh yeah,
hey, we gotta go over here. Oh, well, now you got to go over there. Sorry. Anyway.
No, it is. But I will say, like, it's like the opening chapter of being like him describing space and then the ship just like blitzing in of like, I almost felt like I could see a title crawl or like the opening of Ahsoka with like the New Republic ship. I was like, so I didn't really listen to the, I kind of go back and forth on what audiobooks I listen to. This one was one that I really just wanted to read myself. But even for me, I could hear the music in my head as it was playing, which I think is kind of
cool.
Not to be a negative Nancy again, but boy, I did not like this audiobook.
Really?
No.
Dude, I thought it was so much fun.
It made me miss our man Mark, I'll be honest.
I will say, if it's not Mark, it is kind of
you know who's doing this one, baby?
I can't wait. I cannot wait. Honestly, that might... I don't want to sound mean, but that might be part of why I didn't like this as much.
I'll narrate it for you.
The guy who did the voices, no disrespect to him. It's like he didn't even watch the movies because the impressions are not. Just don't do an impression.
You like his Lando?
Lando's great.
His
Lando's
great.
is great, but Ochi dang near ruined the character for me because
what does Ochi sound like?
Oh, here, let me pull something up.
Here, I'll do it.
He's kind of like this.
Yeah, he's like, oh, now you're over here and you're gonna deal with Ochi of Bastoon.
That's perfect. That's exactly what he sounds like.
Yeah, and but the whole thing is he kind of reads like that in the Vader comic. Like he's like the Knights of Ren, where he speaks like you or I. I hate it. He doesn't sound very Star Warsy.
He just he's one of the main villains, and he just sounds like the snooty, like little bully on in the playground.
I mean, he kind of is.
He's like kind of slimy, snaky though. So
that thing is, I view like I didn't literally this, but like my closest, I twisted it a little bit. I remember this is how I am sometimes. Sometimes I'll be reading the book and I'll make the voices myself to be like, what do I want this character to sound like, so I can then like have a verbalization of it. And I did like a twisted Crosshair meets Randall from Monsters Inc. That's what I did.
Okay.
It kind of sounded like this.
I could be into that, like a snake, but this guy just sounds like
Ochi.
Sounds like Randall from Recess, or what's the guy's name from Recess?
Yeah,
not Randall. I don't know why.
Bobby, the little kid. Oh no, Recess.
The guy, the bully from Recess. I don't know.
That's crazy. I also
the sound effects were awesome. The music was awesome, but like I got when Pride comes up, he's not even trying to do an impression of Pride. And I'm like, why? Just don't do an impression then.
Dude, that's interesting. Maybe I'll have to go back and listen to it. I don't know. Just read it. That's my thing. Why? And I know Will, this is just because Will likes the audiobooks. That is my thing of why I sometimes avoid the audiobooks, because I'm like, I trust myself more than I trust another person to read it to me.
Part of it, I get it. It's me. I'm sorry, guys. I don't mean to be this guy on this stream. I felt so bad before he started because I'm like, man, I'm going to just bring everybody down. But I didn't like the audiobook. I didn't like the book itself.
I think
part of it's just me. I get it. It's
Ochi is rough. I mean, we can't take that from you.
Yeah. What does Comat sound like?
Had like it sounded like Kaiza. It was like, I can't even do it.
Because my brain for Comat,
it was good.
Be a Comat.
Comat, I did like a more somber version of Marin, like a more like kind of like
actually,
monotone version.
I'd say that's close.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. She's got a bit of an accent. She's soft spoken.
Yeah. Okay.
You did her well. It's just the characters. I don't know the characters we knew. I will say that Panshard and the brief little Palpatine bit that we get was awesome in the audio.
Really.
That was really good. Yeah.
Okay. Let's because I want to talk about this. What I want to hear. Will's already said his. You can feel free to elaborate, Will, more on why you love it. But what is everybody's favorite moment in this book? What was the moment that you're like, man, that is peak? I want to hear from Seth.
You want to hear from me?
Mine.
Oh, okay. So I really liked. We kind of already talked about the fact that like Anakin showing up. I mean, like all that is awesome. I mean, chapter 9, I really liked it because it reminds me of a mix between The Mummy and Constantine. That's the archaeological dig site. I also really like the fact that Lando uses the Death Star as like his, come on, guys. Like I blew up the Death Star. You're not going to give me a pass?
Really
funny. You know, I remember the Death Star. I blew up the Death Star.
Like, yeah. So I think that's probably like my favorite parts. I don't know. Like, I know that that's kind of like, wow, Seth. But I mean, I really like that. And then also I really did like how this book described disturbances in the Force. That it's a lack of anything.
Mm-hmm.
I just think that's so interesting. But anyway, yeah, those are my favorite parts. I'm sorry. I
feel like that's a good branching topic because it kind of I have an idea of what my favorite parts are, but you brought up a good point. Mm-hmm. Dude, Lando is so cool, is so good in this book. Like
he's great. Yeah.
I love Lando in this, man. What's up, Will?
Mm-hmm. What I would like to say about Lando, the Lando of it all, is truly I love the Heir trilogy, the Thrawn trilogy, but this is what I wanted out of Lando in those books, to be completely honest.
Out of the Thrawn trilogy?
Out of the Thrawn trilogy.
Yeah. Yep.
The way Lando is done in this book, all of his scenes, he's not just a side character who's like kind of repeating Han's lines every once in a while. Like, he is truly himself in this moment. And I really think Lando shines because it's so far removed from Return of the Jedi and so far removed from the sequels where we have Lando that we know from the OT, and then we have old Lando that we know from the sequels, that it is truly, that is probably the coolest Lando outside of like maybe the Lando novels. Like, it's a really cool version of Lando.
I really want to read those Lando novels because of this now. Connor, you brought it up a little bit earlier as well with the ending of the book, with like Lando's him like failing. But for me, that was actually one of the aspects I was worried that was not going to hit, because I was like, I know he's not going to find his daughter. He's not going to succeed. So how is he going to do with this? That little, I don't even want to call it a vignette, but that's kind of what it is, of when he goes back to Comat's place and he's just there for like a week. And he's just working and he's like spending time and he's just like recuperating himself. And he's weirdly kind of going through these like Jedi practices, even though Comat is not a Jedi. She's an ex-acolyte of the Beyond, but she has this very like simple life. The monologues for him of like, even when we first see him in Boxer Point Station and he's going to these places, like using it as he's gambling as an excuse to try to go find his daughter, but at this point he doesn't even believe it's possible anymore. And like he's like, that's the scary thing, is like I think he said it's been 6 years since his daughter went missing. Yeah. And I'm like, it's interesting because they didn't make him just a straight up sad old man. Like, he's got baggage and he's got issues, but he's still capable. He's not just like, oh, I'm sad. Like, and also, as soon as you put him in the Lady Luck, bro, because that is my jam, is Lando and the Lady Luck. I grew up playing Jedi Outcast. I talk about it all the time. In one of the missions of that game, you find Lando in a cell, and he's like, it's voiced by Billy D. Williams, by the way, and he's like, Katan, what are you doing here? And you know, and it's like, and you team up, and you're like going through hallways and taking out like bounty hunters and stuff, and you take the Lady Luck back to Bespin, which Lando doesn't own anymore. And so as soon as they brought in the Lady Luck, which kind of coincidentally that we read the Thrawn trilogy, I was like, I love this description of him. It felt very in character. He said, I'm just pulling it. Ready? I need to reread this one because I don't remember what you guys are talking about. Who's the one that doesn't read now, Retney?
I was waiting. For you to see that.
I could tell you every moment of this book because I listened to our recap 12 times today. But yeah, Lando was a big standout for me, especially with the kind of through line of the Calrissian Chronicles and stuff. I was a big fan of that stuff.
Lando is truly, the way it feels is like, it is kind of tropey, but it's a really fun version of the trope of like one last job, like that kind of. That's the way it feels, of like, we gotta kick off the dirt and we're going back into the galaxy. I'm the guy who blew up the Death Star, like that kind of thing of like, I'm assembling a team and he's the one who has to get loot. Like, it's really cool that Lando gets to shine as much as he does in this book.
Yeah. And it does make me feel better that like, he kind of, by the end of this book, obviously they're teeing him up for Rise of Skywalker as well, but like he kind of goes off and he does something different. Like they go to Pisana and he's like, I think I'm going to stay here a while, you know? Yeah. And you're just kind of like, even Luke is kind of like,
I did really like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Like he's like, okay, yeah, sure. And then him laying back on the rock and being like, going back to the beginning of the story of like, Calrissian Chronicles part, whatever part it is, you know. Yeah. I'm like, I was like, that's fun. It's a good little ending. Also, little lore drop here. I guess I didn't make this connection until I was like towards the end of the book. The armor that he wears in Rise of Skywalker is Comat's armor.
Oh,
the helmet that he has, that's her. The Windfall Raiders of Taloran.
How about that?
Star Wars lingo just thrown at the page.
You could have said anything.
Lando is easily the most consistent, I think, for me in this book. Like a consistently good part. And I do like his ending, even though he fails. I guess it's just there was so much I felt unresolved that was just another thing. If it was just Lando's story, I really like that sort of, you don't always get the happy ending, but you can kind of find the happiness in whatever ending that you have.
Yeah.
And I think that was powerful for Lando. It's just, for me, I felt a lot of it was like, oh, well, because we got to lay the chess pieces,
I haven't finished Brotherhood, but I can tell you what scene was happening. Kenobi was talking to Dex. Okay, buddy. All right.
That's awesome. I just want to say thanks to Jacob.
Oh, yes.
Focus 11?
I think it's 10.
Focus 10?
No, because Sonny's 9, Gabby's 10, so 11. We have
officially Focus 11. Shout out to Focus 11. Appreciate you being here. Connor, I would like to ask, you brought up earlier you had some confusions with like the way Luke's battle at the end went and like hit the resolution to Luke's kind of end to the story towards the end of the book. Yeah. I would love to know what that was.
Okay, so this was I felt you want to go first?
Well, I guess could we tag team it? Could we Dune Scene it?
I don't know. Did you gonna say the same thing as me?
I don't know. Maybe I have no idea. Never mind.
Maybe here, I'll answer Will, though. You could jump in.
Well, okay, yeah, maybe I'll jump in. All I wanted to do right before you start, though, I have it in my notes, and I should have just said it earlier when they're like, what's Ochi sound like? I said he sounds like a bad Ed Helms impression.
Okay.
Sorry. That's really funny.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I've been looking for a wayfinder all this time, and now you're just going to give it to me? Like,
exactly. That's how he sounded.
Yeah, exactly. I can't believe this. You're dealing with Ochi of Bastoon.
That is
now I'm just imagining Ochi in the office. Big. What was the oh god? What was the college that Ed Helms' character went to in Office? It was that he like Cornell, yeah. I just about Ochi went to Cornell.
Yeah.
So anyway, to answer your question, Will, this was my main issue with the book, because I felt like a lot of times something would be brought up and then it would be either hastily resolved or forgotten about. I'll give you a couple examples. And maybe I missed some of these things. So I'd be happy for, if you guys have an answer like, oh no, that's not what happened. Feel free. Like at the end, for example, when they need to find Ochi's ship, and that's why Lando goes over to Polar, and they're waiting for a lead. Wasn't it established that they could just find the ship? Like, couldn't R2 just run the algorithm there that Comat helped, that thing that she could do where she could track ships based on their radiation or whatever?
What point in time is this? What specific moment?
At the very end of the story, when he finds Death and Mirror, right? Gets their bodies, and then they're trying to find Ochi's ship again.
They didn't get
because they don't know where it's at.
They didn't get the signature of the Bastoon Legacy. They got the signature of the CSA transport.
I thought they did, because that's how they knew it was on Jakku, right? Because that's the ship that Dathan and Mirror stole.
He tracks the CSA transport to Jakku.
Yeah.
Ochi tracks the tracker that it's on the Bastoon Legacy from Pride.
And I know that's what Ochi did, but okay, so you're saying that Luke and Lando track a different ship.
So the entire reason that plot thread gets resolved is because Ochi switches over to the Bastoon Legacy. So the CSA transport's floating there, and they're like, well, there's nothing we can do about this now. Yeah.
Okay, so that does clear that one. I figured there was a good answer for. That I didn't pick up on. So I'm glad you answered that, because I was wondering at the end, like, why couldn't R2 just then track the Bastoon Legacy?
Yeah.
But anyway, to get more to the actual question, and again, please keep correcting me if there's just stuff that I missed, because I really feel like I just missed something. I just feel like my brain did not click. And so
you got a lot going on, battle, dude. So there's little details are like.
Listen, this is why I do this. I read these books like meticulously, so I can be this guy.
So in the first fight with Kaiza, there's a lot of things kind of established. You have the kyber crystals that Luke has that he find on Yuturba. He's got them in his robe, right? And then it's established later that those crystals can kind of find each other, all the shards. That's why Kaiza can create the secret droids, then go after Luke, right? So we know that. This is all, I'm kind of laying the groundwork here. And then the other thing that we are established is that Comat and Kaiza knew each other, both acolytes of the Beyond at one point. Comat no longer an acolyte of the Beyond. And when Luke is going to go to the asteroid to find Kaiza, Lando's like, yo, Comat, you should go join Luke. And Luke's like, yeah, come with me. And she's like, no, this is your fight, Jedi. And he's like, all right, cool. Yeah, then you go with Lando. Okay, word. I'm going to go with Lando. And so they split up. Luke goes, all right, I'm there. I'm with you. We get to the asteroid. There's the awesome fight. It's probably my favorite scene in the book where they fight on the asteroid and he's trying to bring back Kaiza. A thing that I really love about it is that moment where he's like, please join me. And she just says, no. It picks up the mask. I'm like, yes, not another redemption arc for a random Darksider. Thank you. she's in it. You know, she's fully willing. And so we get towards the end of this fight and the thing falls onto Kaiza and kills her. The thing goes through her heart, right? And then Luke's just like, guess I'll leave. And then just leaves. Now, I know he reached out into the Force and he's like, he can't find the mask. And so he leaves. And that's what I thought that this was going to go, is he's just like, well, I couldn't sense it anymore. So it was destroyed. But as soon as he meets up with Lando in like the next scene, Lando's like, hey, what happened there? She died? That's crazy. And he's like, yeah, I don't know, maybe. And then he's like, well, so you don't know if she's dead or not? And he's like, yeah, I'm going to go back later and figure it out. I'm like, Luke, why didn't you stay? Like, I know you got the call from Lando, but would it not have been prudent to find this mask before you left? That's the whole reason you went. That's the reason you had to split up, is like you had to go destroy this Sith presence. But after the thing falls on Kaiza, he just leaves. And then right away, Kaiza comes back. Well, dead Kaiza, because she's, just an animated corpse at this point, comes. And then that's when Comat's like, oh, by the way, Luke, I'm going to join you. I'm like, what? Didn't you say that was your fight, that was Luke's fight? Why are you now going with Luke when Lando asked you to come with him? It's like this. It was a
Clone Wars episode, complete
opposite of what happened before. I felt, where Luke was like, "Hey, come with me," and Comat's like, "Nah, I'm going with Lando." And this is your fight. And now in this moment, Lando's like, "Hey, come with me, Comat," and Comat's like, "Nah, I'm going to Luke." I'm like, "What? Didn't you say this wasn't your fight?" I don't know. It was very confusing to me.
I think so. The big things for me is, one, the reason Luke leaves is the place is literally collapsing in on itself. So because the forge is like spewing up lava and it's burning everything, and then the roof collapses, and then he's desperately like looking around like, is it okay? I'm like, I've got to get out of here. And so then he rushes off, but there's a part where he gets to the ship and he's like, oh, maybe I should go back in. Like, I need to make sure.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
But then Lando's like, Luke, we need your help. And he's like, okay, I'll come back. Like, he has to go. And which, good call by Luke, because if he didn't, Lando would be dead. So that's where I'm like, that's fine. Then what happens is when Luke is immediately like, there's like, so she's dead, right? And he's like, I can't be sure until I come back. And then Lando's like, I understand. Well, I'm glad you did come at least. Well, then obviously she flies in. She tracks him in the TIE Defender, which, by the way, big fan service for me because I love the TIE Defender. Then she comes in, and I think the reason Comat joins along is because she realizes at this point this isn't Kaiza anymore. This is Exum Panchard, and and Luke needs help.
It's just that what's odd to me is that she makes a point to tell Luke, "No, this is your fight." She's all like, wise and like a monk before with Lando, and that's why she joins him, and then she just reverses her decision here, and it's just given no explanation. I just think that's I
don't think it's a reversal of a decision. I think she realizes that at this point, like, the first step was taken, and then I think at that time that's what she believed, and now that she knows like, oh, the mask, it's like fully taken her over, I should, like, in the fact that Luke couldn't beat her the first time, like, I do need to help her now. And then, and for me, I would have been like, maybe I would have agreed with you. I guess I understand what you're talking about, but I also think it makes sense of like, oh, Luke couldn't beat her the first time. Okay, I'm going to make sure this happens. And also then the fact that she has a white lightsaber.
Yeah.
I didn't think Luke beat her. Literally, like, Luke's is confronting her, and then the roof falls on her.
Yeah, but I mean, they make it clear he's going to win the fight. Like, cause she's almost out of energy, I think it was just a coincidence. I didn't view that as, oh shoot, Luke needs my help because, he couldn't finish her off. At least
I think it's more of a thing of Comat realizing like, Lando's got this. I want to make sure that if this XM Panchard guy is taking over my old friend, I want to be there to make sure to finish the job. Because I think when, okay, here's my kind of also my other reasoning is I think Komat sends Luke because she believes Luke can save Kiza, but she was wrong. And then Kiza is killed. And then she's like, okay.
I could buy into that. It's just the book doesn't tell you that though. Like I just can't.
Okay.
The thing that's in my mind when I read it is that Kiza makes a point to be like,
I'm gonna.
Hey, this is your fight. This is your fight.
I'm gonna see what happens.
I gotta dodge. Here, I'll give my last two little, like these are smaller issues, but it's just small things. And one of them I have more of a question about than anything. So it's when XM Panchard is grabbing he force grabs all the shards out of Luke's robes, and they're like caught in midair, and they do the Last Jedi thing where they're like both grabbing them. Yeah. And then Kiza just comes by and just slices them. Like, why didn't Luke do that? Like, after he knew what a problem these shards were, why didn't he just be like, oh, screw it. Boom. I'm just going to take my own lightsaber and destroy them.
I think at this point, Luke is more focused on preservation of artifacts and knowledge rather than getting rid of stuff. Because, even if it is something that is, truly evil, knowing Luke Skywalker, for the guy who is like, hey, Darth Vader, maybe we can save him. If it's just some Sith artifacts, I feel like he's more at the point of especially from the speech that he gives Rey in The Last Jedi of maybe the Jedi weren't always right. Him trying to learn from dark side Sith bad artifacts is probably a lot of his focus right now. He's just trying to learn as much as he can. So maybe, and maybe Luke was incorrect in doing that of I should have had a V8 and done that the whole time. But I think his focus is more preservation and education rather than just bad thing, get rid of it.
See, my interpretation, and I'm reading the chapter right here. It's on page 396. Lando eyed his friend, "You sure you want to take those with you, Luke?" He folded his arms. "Seems like we want to keep those as far away from Kiza as possible." Luke says, "I need to end this one way or another." I think he just brings them with her because he knows it's going to lock her down.
Right. At that point, sure. Because at that point, he knows that what he says, whatever's going to happen is going to happen. But in my mind, in the moment where he should have been like, screw it, we don't need these, is when they're on Polar and the seeker droids come and he's like, oh man, they're seeking us out because of these. Well, here, let me just destroy them. It's not worth having these anymore because they clearly want them, and these seeking, they know where we are because of them. It's putting my friends in danger. So me having this is not good for the team. So I need to just destroy them. And that's where in my mind, I'm like, why didn't you just do that then? Like if the book was going to do it anyway, that seemed to me the best time to do it, rather than, I get it's your climactic moment and the bad guy's got to lose. But that's what felt odd to me.
He also does say when he's on the moon that's when he figures out what they need the crystals for. He doesn't know before that point.
Well, he knows that they will seek to Exegol, but he does know, he does say when they're on Polar, they are coming here because the shards are seeking each other. Now he makes the additional connection on the moon that they also will lead to Exegol. So that's I guess what I'm getting at.
Okay, yeah. No, I will say there is one moment. Will, I want to say, you say what you say first, actually.
Well, Connor, you kind of alluded to it. That was kind of the whole time he had them. They make such a point in the first third of the book of these shards are how Luke gets to Exegol, that I kind of assumed he kept them around until because the whole time they're it kind of seems like I don't want to have to do that again to get back there. But if I need them, that's how I'll do it. And obviously they're looking for the Wayfinder and they're looking for Ochi and all of that stuff. I kind of just assume he kept them around as look, this is my last resort. And maybe the book doesn't necessarily go into this, but I just always assume that he's last resort, if I need to figure out and spend any more time on Exegol, at least I have these to know how to do it. That's what I assumed. That's
true. Yeah, especially because he even when I didn't even think about that, Will. When he's also in the Lucre, the burning core, he's grabbing papers and stuff.
Yeah,
And I found that a little odd too, to be honest, because I'm like, are you trying to save this girl? And this whole thing's blowing up, brother. Get to the point. What are you trying to save papers for?
Which is another reason
the
why
sacred text.
The sacred Jedi text. Which is why I'm like, at this point, especially from where we see him in The Last Jedi, he is so bent on like preservation of artifacts of just anything, which is why he's such good friends with Lor Santeca. I mean, in other stories in comics and stuff, him and Ben and he gets info from Lor to go after other artifacts as well. So like he is truly like trying to Indiana.
And that could be a character flaw. I just wish that they would have established that more as a character flaw. That's all. We know it as a character trait, but
knowing where he is in The Last Jedi, I assumed his and maybe obsession is a strong word, but I assumed that was absolutely a character flaw, knowing the bookend of where he ends up. And even the meme of the sacred Jedi text, like, read them, have you? And he's like, oh, well, but like, I just assumed that's kind of where his headspace in, especially because it's 17, 19 years out from now. Like, this is the peak of him, like Indiana Jones and everything. So
collecting.
On topic, but I have one more thing. I'll stop being mean. This is another big thing. It's about the Wayfinders. They bring it up a few times about the Wayfinders, and I don't know. There's just a quick question to the panel here. Did you guys think that the shards were just a broken Wayfinder? Anybody? Was I the only one who thought that?
The red kyber crystals, that they were a broken Wayfinder?
Yeah. I thought that they were just pieces of a Wayfinder.
I thought that it was a chunk.
That.
I assumed it was a chunk of the red crystals on Exegol.
Okay. Well, I know that by the end of the book, but like toward the beginning, when he finds them in the archaeological dig, I just thought, I don't know. That's where my mind went. But anyway, that wasn't my point. I just was curious if you guys thought that. So
I guess
several times throughout the book, it says, the legends say there's only 2 Wayfinders, and it's a goal of Luke's to get to Exegol, at least toward the beginning of the book. Would it not be logical for Luke to be like, 2 Sith Wayfinders? Where else have I heard 2 Sith before? Oh, right, because always 2 there are. I just happen to know who the last 2 Sith were. Maybe they would know where. Maybe I could research them and find them, because guess what? That is where the Wayfinders are. It's in his dad's castle and on the Death Star too. That just seems to me like one of the biggest gaps of like, you're really having me suspend my disbelief on this, because Luke, who is a lore hunter, who knew Vader personally, met the Emperor, here's only 2 Sith Wayfinders were made. I don't know why his mind doesn't just go, I wonder if that's because there are always 2 Sith and the last 2 maybe had them. Like, that seems like such an odd jump. I don't know. I just don't know why that's not brought up.
Maybe
do you have an answer to that?
Well, I was going to say maybe, I don't know. Maybe I'm filling in the gaps too hard here, but I assume with how much of like weird disturbances in the Force and all of that, maybe it's also clouding his judgment of like being able to like archival remember, like his recall for stuff like that. Maybe, look, I don't know, but I'm also like trying to understand from like Luke's perspective of all that's going on. And he was like him being, and who knows if this is actually what's going on. I would love more stories during this time and 10 years prior, 5 years prior, 1 year prior of this Luke Skywalker looking for stuff and finding stuff and weird Jedi woo-woo stuff and Force stuff. That's all I want. And this book is really cool for that. But I'm almost like, is that clouding his judgment for being able to like have recall of like, oh, 2 rule of 2, Darth Vader, Palpatine killed both of them. Like that kind of thing. I also, when it's said like that, it feels a little bit like when people get mad of like somehow Palpatine returned, where it just feels a little too like connection, like forced Jingle Keys connection, at least from my perspective of like, ooh, always 2 there are. I know 2 guys. There's got to be, maybe they know where they are. Like that kind of, it just feels a little bit too roundabout.
Sure.
Hey, that's my dad, you know?
And that I was going to follow up on that too, or it's like, I think that because we're all like super Star Wars nerds, sometimes we get too like in the lore, and it's like
100%.
Yeah, and so like there is a part of that for sure. But
hold on,
especially Luke Skywalker though.
But to that, though, that we know he's exploring stuff, why wouldn't he go look at the second Death Star?
Oh, I don't know why he wouldn't go look at Vader's castle. That to me was
that was the biggest thing. As far as we know, Will and I looked this up. Luke never goes to Vader's castle, so there has to be some sort of eventual in-lore explanation as to why he does not know or ever go to Mustafar.
Except for that weird deleted scene from that game, that cutscene where he's on Mustafar.
But that was Battlefront 3.
Exactly.
And that wasn't canon either.
And that wasn't canon. That is true. Grayson and I have tried to research this as much as possible because we are constantly like, why has he not been there? Right?
Yep.
Like you think of him wanting to know about this stuff, the guy who's the archivist and the historian and the this belongs in a Jedi museum kind of guy, why he wouldn't go to Vader's castle. Truly outside of this, and maybe somebody else can pop in the chat and be like, oh, actually in issue blah 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 he does. We are unaware.
Do you want to know my biggest speculation of what it is? I think it's a Camino scenario. I think at some point it got wiped off the map of the galaxy map.
And I think that completely?
No, like you know how Obi-Wan's trying to get to Camino, and it's because Count Dooku wiped it from the Jedi archives in Tales of the Jedi. I think there has been a story that has not been told yet of Palpatine or Vader or somebody. Maybe it's Vane E, the guy who works in Vader's castle, of them wiping off Mustafar off of the galaxy map. That has to be it.
In my opinion, I agree more with Sonny that it's just a more practical thing where he probably just doesn't want to visit because he has no reason to. You know, he's like, he's very much more like a cerebral kind of character where he's like, you know what, I don't need to burden myself with it. But if it held answers, I guess that's what I'm getting at.
I will say that
if I'm Luke, I'm like, wait a minute.
I will say that I'm curious if we'll find out in Legacy of Vader at all, because that's interesting is Kylo has been to the castle multiple times, and I forget that the Wayfinder is not actually in the castle. It's somewhere random on Mustafar.
Right?
The Webbish Bog, yeah.
Bog. Shout out to HoloNet Marauders.
Oh God. It is interesting. I would like that story to be told of but maybe it is just a practicality thing. I don't know.
Who do we know other than Kylo Ren that has been to Vader's castle other than Vader himself?
Actually, you know what? I think that's the story I was thinking of earlier. Hold on, let me look. I swear that there is a story I saw somewhat recently where kids break into Vader's castle. And
it's funny. It's the Tales of Vader's Castle.
Krennic has been there.
Krennic has been there, but he's
right. Yep. Yeah.
He's Alderaan fodder at this point, so he probably can't tell anybody where Vader's castle is.
It had to have been at some point during the original trilogy or right after. Obviously the Mask of Momin was there when they designed the castle.
Right.
Whoa. Lando comes in contact with the Mask of Momin at one point. Where is that?
That's in the comic.
That's in the Lando 2016 comic by Soul.
And that's not on Vader's castle, right? That's just the Mask of Momin is somewhere else. Yeah,
okay. That's on Palpatine's treasure vault yacht or something.
Yeah. Yep. Okay.
So which at this point, Lando mentions Momin in the book.
Yes, maybe at that point, then Grayson, that also maybe weirdly corroborates your idea of it being wiped from any sort of star map or astrogation, where if Palpatine is taking
what if it was
stuff
Kiza,
from,
bro?
If Palpatine is taking stuff from the castle for his own weird archive stuff, maybe he has it cleaned out at some point after Return of the Jedi, of burn it all. Kind of I don't want to bring up Nazis, but kind of that thing of after World War II where they're just kind of get rid of it all. War's over.
Yeah, no. I was going to say, Connor, by the way, the comic you're thinking of is Tales from Vader's Castle, and one of the characters is Lena Graff, and that's who gives them the star.
Yes.
Ghost of Vader's Castle. Okay. Well, the character in that comic, Lena Graff, is the one who gives them the Star Herald. From this book, so there is a connection there. So interesting, but
That's what I was thinking
but
of,
then
though. I
wouldn't he
just
need a
found
graph?
it.
No.
Because I knew Vader's ghost like saved some random kid or something, and like they had no connection to him. Yeah, it's that
This
Ghosts
is-
of Vader's Castle number 5.
This is kind of what I think what I was kind of alluding to in not so many words. Palpatine keeps Vader a secret from the galaxy for a little after Order 66. So maybe he hid the planet his castle is on too. What's up, guy who loves Star Wars? Appreciate you being here. But
Yeah, thank you. By the way, he dropped a super chat and was saying that
I
this is
didn't
one of his
see that.
favorites. And yeah.
Dude, thanks so much.
So thank you for being here. It's huge.
Yeah. We got 120
by the way, we have
people
100
watching right now.
This
Really?
is bonkers. Yeah, it's a
Where
lot.
are we streaming? We
I-
streaming on our channel, your channel, where else?
And Twitter.
Twitter.
Twitter, okay.
Yeah,
That's
people
what I
really
knew
like.
you guys were doing a couple other platforms.
Cool stuff.
Thank y'all for being
Oh,
here.
Cal went. Yeah, Cal went to the moon right outside of Mustafar, the one where the
That's what I'm trying to
Inquisitors train.
say. That's what I'm
Oh,
raising my
sorry.
hand.
Just talk.
Sorry,
Just
Dad.
Jack.
Okay, fine. Well, I don't want to be that guy because I always am just like, hey guys, Ochi sounds like Ed Helms. Like it's like no, but I actually have some good lore. Because
Sorry,
aren't all the Inquisitorius? They're all in that system,
They're on
right?
there, yeah.
Yeah.
Which
So
is in
like
the
they all
system.
have to know. Because it's like, hey, Vader lives up there, like in the sky, right there.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is I was about to say, like, you can literally look up and see it. That's the thing. It's like they're Mustafar right there.
Surely they've been up there, or at least know about it, right?
Wonder if Luke ever went to the Inquisitor Fortress.
Right.
Now, see, this is the stuff that I want to know. Is I want to just see Luke go to all these places and like just connect all the dots.
But at the same time, sometimes you just gotta like Boba Fett it, where it's just like that guy's just cool, and then that's it.
Yeah.
You just let it go.
Maybe,
And, like,
yeah.
because if they explain too much, then
will
suddenly
say-
he's just some punk kid who's a clone, and then and it's like and then it's like, oh well, guess what? Now he's gonna be in charge of Tatooine.
But the difference is that we have a end and a beginning for Luke Skywalker and no middle. We need
That's
middle.
the thing is that is the biggest I think hindrance to this book is that it's trying to do something new while also fitting in a timeline that is barely defined.
That's what I was.
Like-
That's what I was saying. It feels so weighed down. You know what it is? It's a really nice, pretty balloon that can't get above 10 feet off the ground because it's just got a bunch of lead at the bottom, and the lead is this timeline. It just is forcing itself in there at sometimes in this story. I feel like where it's like, man, if you were just telling the story about Exum Panchard, this would be awesome. But it's like Dathan and Miramir, and we got Lando searching for his daughter. But hey, by the way, at the end, Dathan and Miramir have to die, and then Lando's got to be on Pisana, and Luke's got to get ready for the Force Awakens. So
I don't know, dude. Maybe I'm maybe big head, small brain, me like key jingling. But like anytime that stuff is like brought up or connected to, I was like, and then going back, and I cannot after the stream. I cannot wait to rewatch Rise of Skywalker to be like because truthfully, Connor, Grayson, you guys are probably the two that I know who talk as fondly as Rise of Skywalker as anybody else that I know, which I don't mind it. It's definitely not a movie I go back and rewatch often, but now reading this, I cannot wait to go back and rewatch it because of those scenes where there's and obviously Rise of Skywalker clowned on for like, oh, somehow Palpatine returned, right? But like Poe and Finn having that conversation where like went to Pisana to find a little girl to bring her to Exegol, like that kind of stuff where it's like, ooh, what's that about? And then we get a book about it. I don't know. I kind of like when Star Wars.
That's the thing for me. Is
I'm
like,
don't get me wrong. I like it. But as Duel of Kates is saying in the chat, all roads lead to Tross. I think that's where I have my problem. Is look in the past 5 years of Star Wars storytelling. The Mandalorian has to introduce Strandcast, and Grogu's got magic blood and cloning. Bad Batch, hey, it's a story that's set during the Imperial era. Nope, it's leading to Rise of Skywalker because we have to explain Project Necromancer, and we have to explain how, no, actually, guys, Palpatine was always planning this. What about the comics? No, we got to have Legacy of Vader, which on its own, I like a lot of these stories, but it's just so many of them are just there to justify the one word in Rise of Skywalker. Somehow, that is the one word that it has to justify for all of these stories. And again, some of them I'm into.
but there's a lot of other justification in Rise of Skywalker that happens outside of the word.
No, and look, I'm not saying that Rise does plenty on its own. I think that the hate for somehow Palpatine returned is a little overblown.
I agree.
I have different issues with that movie and sort of that story. It just feels like, man, look at the last 5 years. How many of these stories just exist on their own? And it's like, that's what part of me really appreciates Ahsoka. I loved it. I mean, Will, you love it too. It's trying to do its own thing. I don't feel like it's just leading me to the setting the chess pieces. I don't know where Ahsoka's going to be by TFA. I don't know where Ezra's going to be. I don't know where Thrawn's going to be, if he's there at all. I kind of doubt it. I don't know where any of these characters are going to be. And that's why I like that show. Whereas when I started Shadow of the Sith, I know where Luke ends up. I know where Lando ends up. I know where Dathan and Miramir will end up. And that's fine. But man, when you have all of these stories, Bad Batch, Mandalorian, Shadow of the Sith, there's just Battlefront 2, so many stories where I'm like, man, another one that's leading to Tross. Got it.
You love that movie.
Yeah, that's your favorite movie, Connor. I know it is.
It's your favorite movie.
I
don't know why you're upset. It's just connective tissue.
That's so funny. When that I'm not going to call it an argument. When that topic is brought up, it's hard not to think of like at the time when the prequels were coming out of like stuff obviously being tied down by the original trilogy, I feel like. And then stuff like Clone Wars adding context of like when stuff pops up, obviously Clone Wars is so vast because we've gotten so much of it. Like it's like 50 episodes for 7 seasons, right? Like when stuff pops up, I think the more you like the end, the more fun it is when stuff tying to the end is brought up.
That's extremely true. Yes.
However, if you're not a fan of where the end goal is, you're not going to be excited for the journeys that happened before the end goal.
And maybe that's why. Okay, I got a DM from someone today, and they were like, "I wasn't really hot on this book, mainly because of how much it ties to Tross." And I was like, I understand. For me, I am a Tross defender, so I like this book. That's the thing for me is I'm like, I am not naive. I understand that Tross has problems. I also recognize that every Star Wars movie that exists has problems. But this one for me, I'm like,
yes, go on.
I'm just kidding.
Name 3 problems with Return of the Jedi right now. Go.
The pacing in the middle is a little slow. No. They force they make Leia his sibling out of nowhere. Yeah. So, but like that's the thing is okay. So to divert a little bit, and that being so, I like this book. Okay, that's all I'm going to say. There is one part in this book that I need to go ahead and say, Sunny. My go over here. I talked to her on the side because I didn't want to reveal these thoughts to y'all. There was definitely some parts of this book that were cut out. Absolutely cut out. There is actually a glaring plot hole. I did extensive research on this. I've bridged the gap and I understand why. I know exactly what was going to happen and I think it was accidentally cut. So, when Dathan and Miramir decide, or Dathan specifically, he broaches the subject to Miramir that, hey, we're going to steal Ochi's ship. All right? That's like a stinger at the end of the chapter. He has never heard Ochi's name ever at that point. When you get to that point, they have not heard of Ochi. They have not run into Ochi. They don't know that Ochi is hunting him. The only time he has ever met Ochi is when he was in the white and red helmet on Exegol, and it was in the crevice of Exegol. Other than that, he does not know who Ochi is. So I was like, why the hell does he know Ochi's name? How did that happen? I figured it out. They're almost certainly there was a chapter or 2 cut out when they go to the Triniteer system. And and Lando and Luke find out that they flew away and they say, oh, the hunters were like right outside the ship and then they blast it off. I am convinced that one of the hunters said Ochi's name and they heard it and they were like, Ochi's the guy that's hunting us. He's the one that's going to come after us. But that chapter was cut out and I think it wasn't ever fully explained. And so when it got to that point, I'm like, this is a glaring plot hole, but I think I understand why it's a plot hole because they cut out a part. So I just make the inference that I'm like, okay, one of the hunters were like, Ochi of Bestoon's gonna get ya. Basically, it was like, because let's be real, these hunters that are working for Ochi, not smart people. Like they're not. Even also, that's one thing I want to say. I love that Ochi is kind of an idiot. And I also love that they set up from the very beginning that he's an alcoholic, because by the end when he literally gets crossfaded from Sith knife woo woo and ship coolant and goes off and dies. He's like, what? And then just sinks down, and I was like, dude, I love how Dio's like, yo, my boss is tripping right now. Like, yeah. but I'm like, at least they set up from the very beginning. He's like, man, I need a drink. Man, I need a drink. Man, I need a drink. And then he's like, the buzzing in my head is getting to me in the Sith dagger. I'm like, it makes sense, but it is funny in a vacuum of being like, and he flew to a planet and he drank some coolant and went crazy from a knife and fell into quicksand. Like, anyway, so that was the plot hole that I wanted to mention. But I did, through extensive research and Sonny's help, figure out probably why that plot hole happened. I do have a list of cool little Easter eggs though that y'all probably maybe didn't know about.
Can I guess one?
Yes, please do.
Is it the hot chocolate? I thought that was fun.
That hot chocolate is one. When they they showed, was it in Comat's Hermitage or whatever?
Lando's like, something I remember from a long time ago. Some hot chocolate. I'm like, I like it. Good stuff.
I love that they keep that stuff in there.
I'm trying to remember what the hot chocolate.
Lando gets some hot chocolate, and he's like, I haven't had this in a long time.
Yeah.
It's a reference to the Air trilogy, because
Oh yeah. Okay, gotcha. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like the hot chocolate thing is like one of the biggest like legends in like jokes, I feel like. So the little drill, or the little like ship walker thing, it's a walker, I guess, that captures Lando on Tornatir Minor, is a toy that never actually got put in the Star Wars. So it was a, let me look it up. I believe it is called, this is my iCloud notes. Hold on. It is the Cap 2 Walker. It's an old Kenner toy that they made canon in this book, which is super cool. And the original toy has Bosk driving it. So in my head, I was like, oh, that Hunter's a Trandoshan, even though there's no reason to believe that at all. Obviously, the big one that I failed to mention, Revan mentioned in this book.
Did I miss that? Where's that at?
In the chapter with Dathan, when he's on Exegol, he overhears these cultists whispering Sith names, chanting Sith names.
Oh, and right. Okay.
Yeah, and it's Plagueis, Noctis, Revan.
You know all those like team, like there's like crews, and they all have names after Sith Lords in Rise of Skywalker.
Yes, yeah, that was from the Revan. It was that. So that was the thing for me. I was talking to Sunny. She's like, "Is this the first time that Revan has been mentioned in canon?" I was like, "Well, technically, it was mentioned in the Rise of Skywalker visual dictionary, but as we know, visual dictionaries are kind of like." They're kind of like canon. Yeah, they're kind of like, this is fun little stuff, but until something comes along. So this is a little bit more concrete when it comes to canonizing Revan. But by the way, Will is just dipping out. Which Will makes a good point that I've completely forgot. We're an hour and a half into this, and we have not done one of the giveaways yet. We probably should do that. I mean, we have two, so I feel like we might as well do one now, right?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Okay. I'm going to put in the chat. This is going to stay till the end of the chat. It's going to be running. I'm going to start collecting the comments now. Type in the chat #shadow. #shadow. I'm not typing it in because it'll enter me into the giveaway, and I don't want to win it. I already have 2 copies of this book. Okay.
The best Sonic character.
Yes, Shadow the Hedgehog. There you go.
Well, this will work for both chats, right?
It should, because it's through.
Yes, it'll work for both.
Okay, good.
So I'm gonna let this run for like maybe 10 minutes, and then I'll collect it here in a second.
Wait, Grayson,
what? You guys remember when it was heavily rumored Hayden Christensen was going to voice Shadow?
Oh yeah,
I remember.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, that would have been
sick. I mean, Keanu was cool, but So the way it's going to work is we are giving away two copies, but it's going to be one apiece. I've got a hardcover right here, and then I have a paperback. This is actually the UK version, but it is signed by Mr. Adam Christopher himself. If I can get to the page here, look at that. May the force be with you always. Right there.
Woo!
How cool. So, so whoever wins this first giveaway, I'll let you pick if you want the hardcover, if you want the signed copy. Yeah, and then whoever does. It's a lot of power. Okay, the Cap 2 thing, that was one of the Easter eggs I wanted to mention. The other thing that I wanted to mention was the Noctis lightsaber was
Real
super cool. So,
yeah, do you guys like that? Honestly,
I like it.
That it's a little curved.
I love it.
Cool. I think it's sick.
It hangs slightly to the left.
It depends on the orientation now. Sometimes it goes up, sometimes it goes down. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, I just don't know how I feel. It's kind of like, oh gosh darn it. Is it Vernesta? What's it?
Vernestra.
It reminds me of that, where I'm just like, guys, what are we doing? I don't know if I like it or not.
The only reason why
you like it? Okay.
That's shocking. Connor hates everything. I'm just kidding.
Except for the Rise of Skywalker.
It's usually Seth. I'm being Seth today. We traded
Connor,
spots.
how do you... I forget. It's been a while since the lightsaber tier list. How do you feel about Kylo's lightsaber?
I like Kylo's lightsaber.
Okay.
I love Kylo's lightsaber, actually. It's awesome.
Okay. I couldn't remember if there's someone... But Seth, you don't like Kylo's lightsaber.
Says who?
You just don't like... You just don't like reverse grip. That's what it is.
Yeah, reverse grip's stupid, especially when he's holding it.
Yeah, it is. But he's also Adam Driver, and he's cool.
No, Adam Driver's just a cool guy.
This is what it looks like, by the way. This is from the original appearance of Darth Noctis in Dark Legends.
Real
cool.
It's
just got. It's like
it's like a.
It's got like a little curve to it,
kind of like a Kopesh.
They describe it. Yeah, they describe it as like a scimitar.
Yeah,
it's like
I guess
Jet's book blade from the Avatar.
That was one of my favorite things because before this book, I had heard a lot of things about I guess Exum Panchard or this character, this Sith. Whoa, Avatar. Goated. Will, have you been rewatching a lot of Avatar lately?
Dude, I'm on episode 4, season 2 right now. My wife and I are rewatching it. I love Avatar. It's the best.
Yeah. Secret tunnel.
Secret tunnel.
Through the mountain.
I'm lost. Never seen it.
Dude, Connor, you have to watch
it.
It's coming.
Connor.
We're doing a dive.
Oh, please. I cannot wait for that, dude.
That's going to be awesome.
That's why we got them.
They're all here because they're my copies, so he can watch them.
Connor, knowing how much you love like the weird woo-woo stuff in Star Wars when it comes to the Force, the spirit world stuff alone is gas. Also, the first the 2/3 or maybe like a half of the episodes of all of season 1 are all directed by Dave Filoni.
Yeah, no, I'm curious. I'm curious to see how the DNA.
If he's not directing, he's either writing or drawing for it. Yeah, it's kind of nuts.
I'm excited. Yeah. It just passed me by. That's all. I had no reason not to watch it.
You're gonna, dude. I know Uncle Iroh is gonna be like Connor's goat.
You have no idea the journey you are about to go on, dude. I cannot wait for you. Dude. Star Wars, Batman, Avatar. It is that is
for him.
That's
we're doing it. That's I think don't quote me, but first of the year that we're doing a little event. So.
I am stoked.
Heck yeah.
It'll be fun.
That's awesome.
Okay. Let me see here. Okay, yeah. So I love
shout out to Jordan Funk. I just want to say hi, Jordan.
Oh,
and hi Wes. Yeah,
it is a very tight story. But I'm glad more people are pre-pressuring Connor to watching Atlas. Awesome. But yeah, no, the lightsaber was cool, especially because like when we were in the middle of reading or I think it was maybe right after we finished the Thrawn trilogy, I had this on my shelf and I was like, I'm just gonna read this because it's such a little book, and I was like, oh, that the Darth Noctis lore is really cool. And then when I was reading the book, I was like, okay, who the heck is this Sith? I'm like, I am so confused because years ago I had heard that it was Darth Noctis. So when I read that short story in that book, I was like, that's not Darth Noctis. She turned into like a weird zombie monster thing. So I was very happy when that got mentioned. But I was going to go and say, because I didn't say it earlier, my favorite, I'll say chapter, my favorite moment in the book, and I do have a lot of favorite moments, but is the very first chapter from Kiza's perspective. It has so much sauce, dude. Like, because you don't know what's going on. Everything is so vague and abstract. And she's like laying on the floor and she sees the mask rolling and she hears the screaming and the voices. And I'm like, is this Palpatine talking to her? Because we know Palpatine is back. Is this something else? Who is this person? Is like blood? Like, why is she bleeding? Like, did she just get done killing someone? Like, there's so many questions that I had. And I went back and reread that chapter like a couple of times, just like kind of on its own, because I was like, man, like that's such a cool. All of those like chapters in I think they call it what, the Sepulcher or whatever they call it,
the Sepulcher,
Sepulcher. Yeah, it was really, really cool. We have got currently 12 entries. Why don't we hit 20 entries, and I'll run the first giveaway. So you got 8 more.
Put it in there.
#Shadow in the chat. But yeah, Connor, I don't think you said, what was your favorite moment of the book?
It was that fight between Kiza. It's either that or the archaeological dig on, what was that planet called?
Yaturba?
Yaturba. Yeah. I really liked that scene. That just felt so Luke to me, where he's, he's saving people, rescuing them from like the dark clutches of this spirit and the kyber crystals. That was awesome. The fight with Kiza on her asteroid, the set piece was so well written. I loved just how they were kind of maneuvering around the droid forge, and Luke is constantly trying to reach out to her. And the moment I wrote it down in my notes where she says no, that was so good. Because, hey, finally, we don't get a redemption story. She wasn't like, okay, I'll take your hand. But, oh, no, the mask overtook me. No, she's like, no, screw you. This is my destiny.
See,
I'm going to wear the mask.
And the way awesome. I wanted to bring that up because that was what I wanted to mention earlier, is I like the characterization of Kiza and the fact that there is a part of her that that is afraid of the mask, that wants to part with it, but it's like an addiction. It's like it's part fear, but some of it is like she doesn't want to lose the power. She likes it. Yeah. She feels kind of like there is no her without it. And I think it's a really cool personification, or however you want to describe it, of the dark side, right? Of its like literal pull of like, it's a drug that she cannot get enough of, and it literally leads her to her demise, where eventually Panchard is just like, well, I'm going to just use your corpse to walk around now, which is really cool.
That was crazy. That was that might be another one of my favorite chapters, is all the droids taking her body to the forge, and they're all like dying as they're doing it. That was pretty cool.
Sick. That's the thing, is I think for me, my favorite stuff in this book is the whole Exum Panchard stuff with that. Like,
100%.
Like, it's so cool. Like, even down to they took off one of their arms and like replace hers with it. And then I will say, because Will posted some memes of like the aura farming, but when they finally do defeat Kiza, or Exum Panchard, because Kiza is not really alive anymore, and he just like, he has Noctis's lightsaber and his own, and just slashes down.
Cuts it
it's so good, bro. I went, to be honest though, Seth, say it, go ahead.
Just talk, brother.
Well, I don't know when he's gonna stop. He's just like, it's just a stream of consciousness.
I never stop. So that's my problem.
Okay. All right. Well, I don't want to just be like, well, I got a thought.
That's what we're here for.
I got you, but I'm trying to be polite. Okay. So this is my whole thing, is it's like, would you guys, personally, I really wish that the mask would have gotten on Luke, and Luke would have defeated the mask from the inside out, and he would have had an internal struggle. I hated the fact that the mask flew towards Luke and he just cut it into an X, and that was
but
it.
It is kind of epic,
dude,
though.
I want the internal struggle, man. I want like him wearing the mask, everything goes quiet, and then he gets like an internal like fight with the dark side, and he's able to force the mask off.
Would have been sick.
I don't.
I'm sorry.
Hate that at all.
Yeah, that's just like, there you go. That's my biggest problem with the book, is I'm like, why did I like? I don't know. Like I was, as soon as it was flying towards him, I'm like, oh, cool. We're gonna get like.
I'm gonna
have
bring
you
a
guys
little.
watched Spectacular Spider-Man?
Yes,
the cartoon.
yes, the best Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
That one. Do you remember when the fight with Venom, where like that one episode where it's all internal, where he's talking to the costume, and then he's able to like with the power of love, he's able to force the costume off of him.
Yeah.
Do you remember that? Yeah. That's
Yeah.
what I'm thinking with the mask. Is it's like the mask is on him, and then it's like, oh no, I you can't even corrupt me because I'm freaking Luke Skywalker. My light shines too bright. You can't.
You would love Luke Skywalker in the Shadows of Mendor, dude. Oh my goodness, that is peak Luke right there, dude.
Put it on the list. Put it on the list.
I'll read it again, bro. I don't care. That book's awesome.
I want to read that one.
I haven't read it. I haven't read it.
It is Matthew Stover. The way he cooks with Anakin and with Obi-Wan, he cooks with Luke, and it is peak. It is awesome. There's some
Anyway,
like
that's all I.
no,
That's
I
my
agree,
TED
but
talk.
But I also just kind of love where like Luke just kind of gets a moment to be like, nope, and just like it's kind of cool.
I could take either path there. Personally. I like both.
It's cool either way. It the X feels very Indiana Jones pulling out the gun to me. Yeah, where he's just like, okay, shut up, and just shoots him like that. That's kind of how it felt to me, which is also cool. But I think Luke does the whole like going into the weird Force world a lot in the comics. That like him doing it again at this old age of like not being able to block this thing that's coming at him is kind of like,
that's fair.
He's like, I've done this enough. And also at the beginning of the book, he was forced to Exegol, that like he doesn't really know what weird Sith artifacts are going to transport him at this point. So I assume it's like a defense thing of like, I've already got these crystals. I'm not doing that again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's kind of if I had to put
somebody was asking
Luke.
Someone was asking who is Darth Noctis, and then we got Wesley. I don't know if it's a member for y'all or for us.
I think it's you guys.
Is that us? But is that for us?
I think it's you guys.
Everybody's getting t-shirts, baby!
Let's go! Also means we're doing exclusive content, not that content though. We're doing like comic book
Grayson
content.
and I finally get to talk about Spider-Man and Batman. Oh my god! Thank you, Wes. Let's go.
Yeah, thank you guys so much, dude. That's awesome. God. Okay, someone was asking who Noctis was. She's from this book. She's only been in this book and then Shadow of the Sith. Mentioned in Shadow of the Sith, I guess. We don't know what time frame she's from, but I'm willing to bet it's at least 5,000 years before. Like it's pre Knights of the Old Republic, because they talk about it, and it's like she kind of conquered the galaxy low key. So
she's got to be after Panchard, right? I was reading something from Adam Christopher where he said that he's not a Darth because he was before that.
Well, wasn't he also just like king of his little
Viceroy
world or whatever, and that's all it was?
I hybridized it. Yeah, so I saw that exact same tweet where he's like, it was before the Sith were a formal organization, but also it is kind of a Count Dooku scenario where like nobody really calls him Darth Tyrannus sort of thing. So I think it's kind of like a mixture. Like a mixture of both, where he's like a mad king, but also like maybe pre-Sith time. It's still cool. I want more like ancient Sith Lord stuff, dude. Like which I'm just gonna say that like I'm throwing my hat in the ring that next year I really want to read the Bane trilogy. That's all I'm saying. Yes, Will.
Not to get too far off topic, but can you imagine if the end of that Jedi 10,000 years story, whatever it is, the James Mangold movie, hopefully it happens, because that's probably out of the stuff that's been announced that I'm most excited about. Can you imagine at the end if we get like a weird Luke looking for artifact scene, and he's just like, oh, that's what this is, and he just walks up like just a little like a Leia in Rogue One kind of hope thing, like where it's just Luke and he picks up whatever, like one of the Jedi, like their old lightsaber, he just finds it, he puts it on his belt and just walks off, and you're like,
I would be fine if they didn't even show his face, if it was just his boots and his glove and you hear the voice and then it just kind of cuts, you know?
Yeah,
that'd be sick.
That'd be cool.
I have
Tack Renard's lightsaber.
Yeah. I have two small questions to pose to the panel.
Yes, of course.
The first one is easy one, but several times they call Luke Last of the Jedi once again, something that I feel like we haven't really heard. So, well, we heard it in Last Jedi, of course, but Yoda says it. It's a problem that I've had with canon personally, where it's like, he's not, though. There's a ton. But I wonder, because this is the newest piece of material, if I'm remembering correctly, that uses that phrase in reference to Luke. Because this is what? This was a 20... Well, when did this come out? 2023,
2022?
Right?
2023, maybe? Something like that.
So, do you think that the powers that be back there, the Filonis, the Kennedys, the whoever's, they saw this line, like, do they have a plan for like characters like Ezra, Ahsoka? This drove me nuts.
Cal Kestis. This
drove me nuts pre-OT, but now we're getting close to the sequels. It's like, come on. What are we doing with these characters? What do you think, Will?
Not to be the actually guy with this, because I feel like I'm doing that a lot this stream, where I'm just kind of like, well, if you think about it from this perspective, the way I've kind of thought about it with that of like, hey, he's not the last Jedi. There's 30 other that are Order 66 survivors at the moment, right?
Yeah, Sash Ventress.
Yep. That's exactly who I was thinking of, Seth. People like that, would Yoda consider them Jedi at that moment, knowing that somebody like an Ahsoka leaving the Order and then coming back in season 7, when they're like, well, she's obviously Mace Windu is the worst, and he's like, oh, she's a civilian at this point. Would Yoda consider them Jedi at this point? I know he
maybe
appears
not
to them, but like in Yoda's 900-year-old brain, that Luke is literally like the closest thing they've had to the Jedi Order and younglings at that point.
Sure, but this is Comat also saying this. What did we say? 17 years after Return of the Jedi?
But they're also, a lot of them are in hiding, and like somebody like an Ahsoka, who I feel like is the most front-facing in the galaxy at that point, they're not walking around going, look at me, I'm a Jedi, right? Like Ezra's on Peridia, like for a lot of that time, like...
Yeah, but Ezra's back by this point, right?
Yes.
Well, who knows? But I'm just thinking of like, in the span of that period of like, he's gone for a lot of it. Ahsoka's not calling herself a Jedi. Kanan is kaput. Cal Kestis, who knows if he's even alive? Like,
he better be dead, brother. I'm telling you, he better
running
be
around.
out.
No, Cal Kestis is going to be in the new sequels movie, the Rey afterwards. He's going to be in Star Wars Starfighter.
I'm so mad.
He's actually Mara Jade's son.
I'd be so mad.
But
no, I wasn't. To be clear, I wasn't criticizing it necessarily. I just want to know: do they have a plan for this? Because at this point during the timeline, we know that Ezra's back. He's going to be probably involved in a somewhat front-facing role against Thrawn. We know that the Thrawn battle's happening in Ahsoka season 2. Filoni said as much. We can kind of cheat with Ahsoka because she's off in her pocket dimension, and that's cool. But then what about Kanan's son? There's just a lot of characters that are sprinkled throughout here, and it struck me that we have a new story.
Season 2.
Hey, you know what?
He's going to get eaten by the Wolf of Doom.
That'd be insane. But yeah, I mean, hey, I just think it's interesting that
what
we have a book
man?
that came out not long ago, and they're still using that same verbiage.
Well, that's also weird because he's got a school at this point.
Can I just give my very simple reasoning of why I think this is the case? And I think we're looking way too deeply into this. It's only two answers. Is one, it's Comat is a dry sense of humor, and two, Luke is the only Jedi she knows.
Yeah, no, look, I wasn't getting that deep into it necessarily. I just think this is a thing that's come up multiple times in Star Wars. You have a movie titled The Last Jedi. Luke's called Last of the Jedi several times. I'm just curious.
Who else has he called Last of the Jedi other than Comat? And then what? Because I don't remember.
Yoda. That's the most important one to me. Yoda.
When I am gone, the last of the Jedi you will be.
Yep.
Oh well. I mean, I guess at that point that's, in Yoda's perspective, true.
No, there is another.
There's another.
Well, Leia is in a Jedi at that point,
and she's got a stupid lightsaber too. Sorry,
I thought you loved that thing.
Nope, don't.
She becomes a Jedi for like a month, and then she's like, actually,
It's the dumbest.
No.
That was your
I'm
favorite.
not going to do this.
We can't
on
be.
here.
I cannot be doing this every day of my life.
I'm not going to do it on here. I'm not going to do it on here. I apologize. That's for the
I
people
thought
at
it.
home.
I could have sworn that. That's crazy. I thought it was your favorite one.
Nope. Don't even do this,
Huh.
Seth. Don't even do this. What I was going to say is maybe it's a moniker thing, as like that's just how the galaxy knows him. Of like, like the HoloNet saying Luke Skywalker kills Vader, Palpatine explodes, maybe somehow returns eventually. Like the ticker that's going across and like
I got you.
R's and
The
stuff.
Last Jedi, Luke Skywalker return. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe it's just a moniker, like what people refer to, like it's like the GOAT for sports or something like that, where it's just like a thing that is like Luke Skywalker, the Last Jedi during that time. You know what I mean?
Fair enough. That's a whole other conversation to get into the Yoda thing, so I won't get into it here. But I could.
For me,
I could get behind that.
Yeah, for me, I just always viewed it as kind of like this. I'm not a Game of Thrones person, but just for the top of my head of like, or kind of it being like a night thing, I guess, of like what is the new Game of Thrones spin? It's like it's Sir Duncan the Tall or whatever. I just imagine it being like Luke Skywalker the last or whatever. You know, when it's like when he's not actually, it's kind of more of like at the time I don't know.
It's a name that he picked up, and then obviously he was able to do something where it like nullified the meaning of the name, but it was.
I will say this is another thing in Shadows of Mindor that a big crux of that story. I can't wait for. Maybe we need to pitch this. Maybe squeeze this in next year. Is a big thing is that there are these like holodramas that get broadcast out to the galaxy, and I believe this has been canonized. Retney's talked about it a lot before, but that. They basically like kind of glorify Luke, and so the galaxy just kind of knows him as the last. Like even in Legends, like that's the kind of the last Jedi, or the like, you know, with another Heir to the Empire is like the first of the new, but Shadows of Mindor is before that. So it's a fun thing of like, oh yeah, he's like, it sounds good on paper, I guess. Like,
sure,
yeah, I don't know.
Well, second question, perhaps that hopefully a little more interesting than that one. Although that was a fun discussion.
It is.
This being titled Shadow of the Sith, I'm curious your guys' opinions on, do you wish that Palpatine was more involved, especially because this deals so heavily with Exegol? Because now that I've read the book, and as I'm sure we all know now, the shadow that it's referring to is Exum Panchard. It is not Palpatine. I thought going into it, knowing that we were going to deal with Exegol, and even the little cameo we get from Palps in the beginning, I thought that that's what this story was going to be about. So this isn't really an expectations thing. I'm just curious with how closely this story deals with Rise of Skywalker, Exegol, and talking about the shadow of the Sith. In fact, it opens with the quote from the Revenge of the Sith novelization, you know, in reference to Palpatine. I'm just curious your thoughts. Did you wish that it involved Palpatine more? Were you disappointed that it didn't? I'm just curious your thoughts on that.
Permission to speak? I'm going to pull a Seth here. So I'm sorry, Seth. I love you.
Just polite.
You are polite.
Sorry that I have manners.
But you can
Seth,
be.
Every time you interject now, you go, you guys suck, and then say what you guys are going to say, please.
All right.
You're all wrong. For me, I will say, Connor, when the first time happens, there's a cat now on stream, by the way. The first time it does happen with the Ochi chapter, I was like, oh, we're definitely going to get some more little like inklings of like this like voice of Palpatine speaking to Ochi, or even to Exum, or I guess Kiza, whoever it was. I don't want to say I was disappointed, because at the end I wasn't like, man, I wish Palpatine was in it more. But I will say, I definitely would not have been mad. I would have liked if there was more. Like, that would have been really cool.
I agree that Palpatine, it would have been cool to have him in more. Once again, thinking of Rise of Skywalker, where he's talking to Kylo and he's like, I've been the voice inside your head this whole time. If there was a little bit more meddling from him, that was kind of like,
come to you.
I really think that would have been cool. I also think, even if not Palpatine specifically, but just more time spent maybe with other characters, with like the Exegol of it all, of what's going on Exegol, what's going on with the cloning and the strands and the Snoke of it all. Because like truly, when I was making the weird little snippet trailer thing that we played at the beginning of this, I put Palpatine in there because of the beginning of the book, but there was so much other stuff that I wanted to put in there that I'm like, oh, this is cool. It happens on Exegol, but it truly doesn't have anything to do with the book. It's just on the same place that I'm like, that I left it out on purpose. That I was like, we can't even really use this. It alludes to nothing that happens in the book.
Mm-hmm.
I would have liked a little bit more of the Palpatine maybe in Luke's head kind of thing, kind of like what Seth was alluding to with the mask going on to Palpatine, of like when he's on Exegol, of maybe Luke hears the laugh or anything. However, the only thing I don't like about that is because then
he'll know.
If Luke is the one who's involved in it with all the Force woo-woo weird Palpatine stuff, then that really bogs down the fact that like Luke didn't say anything in the sequels about Palpatine's return. You know what I mean? So maybe him being left out kind of aids that, which who's to say whether or not that was a choice there of like, we have to leave that on. But I don't know. It's kind of I would have liked more Palpatine, but I'm also like, the more Palpatine, the more you have to deal with the all roads lead to Tross of it all.
It would have been cool if there was a bookend of like Palpatine speaking to Ochi when he dies or something. Being like, you suck.
Like you failed me or something like that.
I think my thing with that, the reason why I posed the question is because the book deals so much with Exegol, Palpatine, or rather Exegol, Tross, and all these things. I would have liked, I think, there to be a moment at the end or towards the end where it's like the knowledge of Palpatine just barely escaped Luke.
Yeah.
It was within grasp, you know, but because of the story, because of Exum, and in a way it does that, because after he cuts the mask, then he says the ringing in his head is gone. Like, oh, that was the disturbance. But us as the reader, we know, oh, but that's not it, though. Palpatine's out there. I would have liked there to be just more of a punctuation where it's like, Luke got this close to discovering the truth.
Yeah.
But, and this whole Exum Panchard thing, that's actually just a ruse, because that's another thing I found strange, I guess, is that Panchard and Kaiza by extension, they have like a very loose relationship to the Ochi story. And so I found that sort of strange, as in the beginning, I thought Panchard was working for Palpatine or something. There was some connection there because Kaiza goes to Ochi, it gives him the dagger, right? And then later in the story, when Kaiza arrives on the station with the droid attack, Ochi's droid attack, that's when he's like, oh, the Siths want to find the family, the Sith being Palpatine. And then Luke is like, oh, here's the Sith. That must be the Sith that is hunting the family. And it's not. And so in my opinion, I didn't feel like there was a resolution to that concept where that's just never explored again. We make that connection in the beginning of the book. And then toward the end, it's like, well, actually, I don't know. I guess I just would have liked more of, the Kaiza and Exum Panchard. Why are you after... why are you going after this family? You know, I guess that's
I agree, because the only inkling you really get is
I lost you guys. Give me just a second. Keep talking, but I'm gonna my headphones died.
Oh, okay. The only thing that I that they give about that is the fact that, like, when in one of the middle chapters, one of the Sith cultists reaches out to Kiza and is like, don't forget what master you really serve, sort of thing. And that's kind of the only other inkling we get of it. And I do think it would have been cool to get a little bit more of like a back and forth sort of thing of that. But I think it was maybe some of it was kind of left on the drawing board and there wasn't enough room to fit it in, but I'm not sure.
When I would like to bookmark, when Connor gets back, there's a very pertinent quote from Adam Christopher about Master of Evil that kind of pertains to what we were talking about, of like, why wouldn't somebody tell somebody, of like, why wouldn't Vader tell them, or like, why wouldn't Anakin tell Luke? which we don't really know from Master of Evil right now, obviously, because the book doesn't come out till tomorrow, and none of us have read it. But one of the main quotes in shout out Star Wars Insider, "Forever my love. So sorry that you have been taken from us so soon." But there's a quote here from the interview with Adam Christopher about Master of Evil, and obviously this doesn't necessarily make it so stuff like Exegol and stuff like that, but it's Vader decides that if Palpatine isn't going to tell him those secrets, then he's going to find out for himself. So obviously from Vader's perspective, that's like how to bring Padme back. At least we can assume from what the excerpt that we read that was released a while ago of the first couple of pages of the book, or at least some pages from the book. But I would have to assume that, at least from Palpatine's perspective of like bringing somebody back, that is the Exegol of it all, of the strand casting and the Snoke and all of that. So maybe Master of Evil will actually give us more Exegol, more Vader's castle than we realize, just based on that. Like, Adam Christopher has not said a lot about this book, and for absolutely appropriate reasons. But like, that being said, and I was reading it today, I do think we are going to get more of that, not necessarily from Vader's perspective, but just from a lore drop perspective, I think.
Interesting.
Yeah. I personally would just love it regarding the nature of why Kiza is working at being controlled by Exum, but also working for Palpatine. I would love more of that inkling of that story. Maybe that is something that, because you definitely catch her story kind of like, it kind of feels like a lot's happened beforehand, and you're kind of like, you're definitely catching the tail end of her story, right?
Well, she was in Aftermath. Like, that's where it was introduced, right?
That's I did hear about that, yeah. Sonny. If you're still there, how prevalently are they in Aftermath? Because I got the impression that they're barely in that book. I don't think
they're in it a lot, but that's where the concept, because the mask is there too. She takes the mask from I think a friend, Remy, something like that is the name.
Sonny says it's one interlude.
Is it Empire's End?
You didn't give your perspective on that.
Yeah, I want Seth's now.
Yes, did not mean to not throw it back to you after I so rudely interrupted.
No, it's all right. I mean, I think it's disappointing that he's not in it. And I mean, maybe that's where you get the title, though, is that like Luke's chasing shadows.
Yeah.
That like it is the shadow of the Sith, because, he is oldest Sith.
Yeah.
Palpatine. So
I just didn't know if this was an expectations thing, because I'll admit, I think a lot of my dislike of the book is because of my own expectations.
I mean, I think too, it starts so strong with like the quote from Revenge of the Sith and stuff like that. It's like that doesn't really go anywhere. And then two, that they do the Dead Star Dragon.
I'm surprised Grayson didn't bring that up.
Sorry, I completely forgot. So it's funny. I took a picture of that and I sent it to Tiara, because me and Tiara are like Crafting on Ilum are like the biggest Matthew Stover fans. Like, we love him. We get to speak to him at Legacy Expo, and yeah, it's awesome because he's like talking about the mask, and he's like, Vader was like a roiling fire, like a sun dragon, whereas Palpatine was just like ice, like cold. The bottom of a frozen lake, which is also interesting because it's not a frozen lake, but it is interesting that is the parallel that they use for Palpatine. And the final battle against Panchard is on a moon where it's like kind of a frozen lake.
Yeah, I definitely gathered that, where you see the snakes, the two snakes, kind of riding underneath. Yeah,
that
was cool.
Yeah, that's cool. But yes, anyway, sorry, continue, Seth.
That's all I got.
By the way,
I will say that you guys, I think, have softened me on a lot of my criticisms, which I was hoping you would, because like I said, I found myself enjoying a lot of this, and I really felt like there was just something that wasn't clicking in my mind. I couldn't place it. But I think this will be a book that the further I get away from it, the more I'll remember fondly the things that I really like. But yeah,
it's a book for me that I'm like, I kind of wrestled. I was like, I love this book, but I recognize it's not perfect. Like, there's definitely some jumps, there's some flaws, there's some things that aren't fully concluded. But for me, and I'm like, it's still such an enjoyable ride, and it's still like what Seth said of like, there's so many fun references in here and stuff that like it's genuinely, despite some of the criticisms that I have with it, the fun that I had with it kind of made me made it so much more enjoyable for me, I guess. But what I was going to say, and this is another thing that's interesting, is I found out from Tiara, and this gives me incentive to want to continue reading this book. Retney, I know you're not here anymore, but guess what? I will finish reading it. Is that in Brotherhood, there is there's a backstory where Shmi tells Anakin about the dragons.
Yep.
It's the origin of that story. So, yeah.
That's fun.
That's cool. Okay, before we continue on, because I know we're probably going to wrap up here soon, we have 14 entries for one of the giveaways. So I'm going to go ahead and pull that now. Get your last entries in. I'm going to share the screen real quick as well. Hashtag Shadow.
Get your hashtags in, baby. Get your hashtags in. You might win a free copy.
You might get a copy, baby. Let's see.
Sci-fi for, by the way, Stella appears on occasion on the show. She makes the occasional cameo.
Is that Stella the cat?
Stella, my cat. Yep, Stella the cat.
Let's see.
She's been chilling over there in the corner this whole time. I was wondering if she was going to come up here.
Can we see the giveaway tool right now? Yes, we can.
Yep.
All right. I'm pulling the trigger. Oh, we have 15 entries. All right, I'm doing
15,
it now.
Get him in. Get him in.
Get him in. Get him in. 3.5.
Do I hear 17?
Two and 7 quarters. That's not a real number. I'm drawing. Will, why did you enter?
Hey, I saw Will's name in there. Get out of here.
Okay, that was to tell people to use hashtag Shadow.
Sure.
It's not like we.
Quinlan, boss. Quinlan, are you here, buddy?
Quinlan won like 4 of these.
I was gonna say this guy wins everything.
He wins so many of these.
Struck again, Quinlan Voss.
I'm the Enigma, and I love my books.
Exactly.
Quinlan, are you here, buddy?
Book collection has come from us of these streams.
He has this one shelf, and it's just our books.
Sorry, boys.
Quinlan,
Guess I got another.
I'm gonna go ahead and draw a second one because I don't see Quinlan in here. I have DM'd him before, but he made. Oh, no, he's here.
Right
okay,
there.
he's here.
He's right there.
All right, Quinlan. Can you just put in the chat which one you want? Do you want the signed copy or do you want the hardcover copy? Because that you get the first grabs, buddy. So let me know, and then we're gonna roll it again. Roll it again.
Roll it again.
Then once you tell me which one you want, I'll pull the other one. You can just DM me on Instagram. We'll figure it out.
That'd be amazing.
Make shipping easier.
It would be. I guess that's true.
Also, I need to put on record. I have bought 3, 4, 5, 6. I bought 7 copies of this book.
He really likes it. One for each time that Will read the audiobook.
Yeah,
I was like, here you go. I actually did buy Will a copy of the book.
Yeah, he did.
All right, signed, please and thank you. All right, you're getting the signed paperback. That's going to Quinlan Voss himself. Ventress's baby daddy. Not really, though.
But we still have another.
We're drawing again. You get, do we want to make sure you get your interest? I'm doing it. You know what?
Whoa, dude.
Hey, Diego, thanks for being here. Appreciate you.
Hey, Diego.
Nerdy Seb, too, had a nice message for us.
Oh, dude.
Star Wars Insight.
Whoa, Focus 7.
Focus 7.
Dude, I love their profile pic. That's awesome.
It's pretty great. Insight. You hear, pal? You get this? This is the hardcover's got your name on it, buddy. Okay, perfect. He's here. All right, Insight. If you follow me on Instagram, DM me. Or if you're on Twitter, I guess you can DM me on there too. But cool. Guys, I'm not kidding. I've almost had this book ready for this giveaway for a year. Because we were going to do it way earlier and then we got sidetracked with other books. Okay. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Will, fix it. Thank you.
Wow, that was like instant. Look at that.
Yeah,
Will's
he's
a Jedi.
magic like that. He's we've been talking about this book for almost 2.5 hours. I think it's time to probably close it out like the way Luke sliced up Exum Panchard's mask and it slid across the diamond surface of the moon of that fueling station that I'm blanking. Do we have any final?
The moon of Yago.
Yeah, that's where Exum Panchard's from. Is the moons of Yago.
Yeah.
Do we have any final thoughts about the book?
Quinlan, I think that you've DM'd me before. I'll give your I'll find your info. I'll give it to Grayson. Don't worry.
Yeah, I was about to say, you can there's a will, there's a way, there's a will of the force, not the guy in the bottom left. Well, I'll take care of it.
I won't answer you.
If all else fails, you can. I was going to say you can email me. I guess it's fine.
Send him a page.
Yeah, you can send me a Morse code.
Quinlan, I think either you emailed me or you Discorded me last time. Just do whatever you did last time, and I'll send it over to Grayson.
Yeah, I got you. I got you covered, Quinlan. You're a loyal guy, and for that, we appreciate you. Well, I had a blast reading this book. This was one that I like I said, I'm kind of sad that we've already passed, because this is one that I've been really excited to cover, but I'm very glad we did. Like we said, everybody kind of had some mixed thoughts on it, but I think overall we still had a fun time with the book.
It was just me, really, who had the mixed thoughts. Seth, I think, was mostly positive.
Seth,
guys, I'm sorry I was Debbie Downer today.
Wait, there is never an expectation going into this knowing that everybody is going to like the book. That's why we have.
I know, but I just don't like. I don't know. I just don't like being that guy. That's
outside of Revenge of the Sith and Plagueis. I don't think all four of us have been all in on a book, have we?
Yeah. I don't think so. I think Dark Disciple we all unanimously did not love, and I think the Thrawn trilogy we each were it was like a roller coaster for all of us. Where we're we liked this. I look back on the Thrawn trilogy and I'm it's decent. It's not my favorite thing ever, but other than Revenge of the Sith and Plagueis, dude, Revenge of the Sith, that book still just lingers in my head.
I think about it all the time. Yeah,
it's so good. Has everybody gotten their deluxe edition of the book? It's ask for it for Christmas.
I did. Oh, you're talking about the chat. Sorry.
Yeah. I know you did, and I know Will did as well. Because
my stupid story. Yeah,
I'm Will's book sugar daddy. I bought him that too. I just realized.
Yeah, I'll go into the mail and I'll be like, "Why did you send me this?" He just randomly sends me books, which is very nice of him. But Grayson is also a book thief, where he's just constantly finding books and being like, 5 of the Young Jedi adventures.
My library.
He'll send me stuff. He told me that Yoda Rendezvous is still available on Inkstone. I'm like, I gotta buy that.
Ooh. Dude, that's a book I want to read real bad.
Yeah, that's on my short list.
That's a peak. We gotta formulate what we want to do next. But I think the unanimous decision, I've not heard otherwise, is that the next up is indeed Master of Evil.
Good to me.
I'm cool with that.
Yeah. And guess what?
Master of Evil
comes out tomorrow.
Sometime this week.
And does the audiobook Mark Thompson?
Dude, I'm so excited. You have no idea. I'm so excited. That's all I was thinking about while listening to this book. I'm like, where's Mark?
So Mark also earlier this year did the Essential Legends collection unabridged audiobook for Rise of the Dark Lord, which is the James Luceno kind of sequel.
That's my personal I'll probably read Master of Evil next, but on my personal next is Labyrinth of Evil and
Diego comes out tomorrow
and Rise of the Dark Lord.
Yeah, I would love to do Rise of the Dark Lord. People, so some friends of the pod, I'm actually blanking on who did, this might have been Blast Points who posted this, and I'm trying to remember. They did a review of this book because they got the early copy, and they said this is almost like a spiritual successor to Rise of the Dark Lord.
Yeah.
So that'd be really cool. But
I'm excited. I've read a few reviews and I've heard some pretty good things. So
yeah, that also is going to be. It's a little bit of a tighter package. It's 360 pages, so it's a little bit shorter than Shadow of the Sith. Shadow of the Sith is anywhere from 460 to 500 pages, I think. So it's a little bit longer, but
yeah,
it was Triad of the Force, not Blast Points. Even though Blast Points
yes. My bad.
In 2005, 3 books were published that became known as the Dark Lord trilogy. These books consisted of Labyrinth of Evil, Revenge of the Sith, and The Rise of Darth Vader. There's been no shortage of Darth Vader stories. However, Master of Evil feels like the spiritual successor to this trilogy. This book has fun with continuity, from using Revenge of the Sith as a backdrop for establishing characters and using scenes from it, to revisiting moments from the Darth Vader comics. Adam has a great time honoring the past while playing within it, all the while charting his own story with his own unique voice.
Very excited.
Yeah.
We can't freaking. We didn't put it in this studio. I was about to say, so you could we could close out with our teaser.
I mean, if you send it to me quick, I can put it in.
We have a teaser.
You made it, bro. It's the one from that we did a while back.
Oh! For Master of Evil. I was like, I thought you meant for this book. I was like, oh
no. I know. We're done talking about this
where
book.
would that be? Hold on, Vamp. I think it's mine.
I bet it's called Final Six.
It's called Master of Beagle, and it's just a.
Hey, while Will's doing that, just for fun, what's on the short list? What are we curious about? Seth, what's the books that you really want to read?
In general?
Yeah.
Well, I want to read that. You're gonna get mad at me. I want to read that Grayson brought up earlier. I want to read Night of the Seven Kingdoms. I know that's not something we're gonna read, but like,
why would I get mad at you?
Because that's not a Star Wars book, but I want to read it really bad.
Well, okay, a Star Wars book. That's what I'm asking.
I just want to what Star Wars book do I want to read?
Yes.
So next up, the entire High Republic. Man, I wish.
That's crazy. I do want to get into that though.
Dude, Will, you're gonna love it.
I'll just read whatever you guys want to read.
Okay,
I don't know.
But you don't have a book that you're like, man, I've always wanted to read this one.
I feel like Seth, you definitely need to have a very strong say in what this next book is.
Yeah.
Why?
What about Bane? You always want to read those.
Yeah, but I want to read just
you're
the
like,
first one.
Because you're like a 15% on being thumbs up for a book out of all of the books we've read.
Yeah,
so we would like you to have fun.
I'm just here. It's good. I'll read them. Whatever. I'll listen to them. But yeah, I don't know.
That's awesome.
I wouldn't mind. Have you guys read The Ronin, The Duel?
I've not yet.
I could be down for that.
So I hear mixed bags about that book, but I feel like I'm gonna love it. Apparently, it's a lot more like expositional than dialogue heavy. So I feel like it's going to be a little bit more like not manuscript like, but more like a tale, I guess, which I think is
gotcha.
Which is cool.
That'd be fun.
I could be down with that. I wouldn't this is me though. I wouldn't mind tackling a comic book sometime.
I would love that.
That could be kind of interesting. I don't know.
That would be fun. I never considered that for this.
Oh, I've always wanted to do it because also a comic is, to be completely fair, way less prep to read a comic. You can read a comic.
Some scans while we're talking about it and be like, oh yeah, I really liked the artwork at this point, or I could that sort of stuff.
I did think about low-key doing the dark, like at one point doing a special for like Dark Empire, just because I think that'd be a lot of fun, despite it being like a kind of a quit.
I've never read those. I'd be down.
Yeah,
it would be cool if we did like comics, like if we just did like a trade paperback of like just one run.
Yeah, I will say the Charles Soule Lando run that is mentioned, like Moment's first appearance, is one of the best. And then also the Vader Soul run. I mean, I'm sure Seth, you've read it. Will, I believe, has maybe made it. Is great.
One of the few comics I've read too, like all the way through.
Really?
I haven't made it through.
But I did love that.
The first two Vaders are great. The third one, the one with the Exegol stuff, that's like I like the beginning of that book. Like the first 10 issues are great. And then after that, I think it just falls off because it gets pulled into Crimson Dawn and Crimson Rain and Dark Droids and
War of the Bounty Hunters.
War of the Bounty Hunters, yes, where I'm just like, no, stop. Just stop.
There was I will say, with the 2020 Star Wars run and then the 2020 Vader run, way too many crossovers. Way too many.
Just like, oh my, caught in comic book world.
Yeah.
My pick for a book, I want to do Shadows of Mendor and I want to do Kenobi by John Jackson Miller.
Yeah, dude. I want to do Kenobi real bad.
That would be awesome.
Now you say that.
Go ahead.
Shadows of the Empire would be fun.
Oh, yeah, the book?
Shadows of the Empire.
That would be awesome.
That'd be cool.
That'd be fun.
Yeah.
Another story.
That would be fun if we did if we kind of all collaboratively did the book, comic, and game and kind of like talk all about them at once.
Now you're speaking my language. Yeah.
What is that?
I apologize.
Are you switching over?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I play it?
Yeah, dude, play it.
Okay. And we're back.
Connor, have you not seen that? That's awesome, right?
Dude, the V with the lightsaber? Whoo!
Let me see Paul Allen's again.
Just man, gotta take that off.
Nice.
Good stuff.
That's awesome. For me, well, one of them. Actually, Will, you say yours. You're for books.
After the way you have talked about Shadows of Mindor, that is very high on my list. The Ronin, absolutely. Would I selfishly like to talk about Shadows of the Empire with all y'all? I would love that.
Yeah.
But like, I really think if I had to pick one, Mindor is probably what I would go with. The Bane stuff, I'm like, that's cool. What I actually was thinking about earlier today, or maybe it was yesterday, if we did like the certain point of view stories, but we split them up and we didn't necessarily read them all, but like we did little synopses of each one and we like presented them to the group as like, I
to the table
chapter, and then you explain that, and then
those are fun books.
Yeah, because a lot of them are pretty short.
Yeah.
We just pick a couple from each one, and we're like, oh, this is the one that I read. And then the other thing would be, I would love to do like a comic run, and we just go from like an issue to an issue, and we all agree on it. I think it would be fun, not to get too inside baseball on it, but like to have the panels that we're talking about able to pull up on screen. Like, I think comic stuff would be really fun for us. And it's also we've only done books, so to split it up with some comic, which I mean, we always reference comics anyway. Something like that I think would be fun.
Yeah.
Guys, while we're theory crafting, does Tales from the Archives encompass video games as well?
That'd be kind of sick, dude.
Go on.
Force Unleashed.
See, that's the thing is, I think it'd be cool if we did the books and the game kind of like cross-referencing them.
That'd be sick.
This guy down here talked to Sam Witwer and David Collins.
To play KOTOR because I've never played it, and I need a reason for it to be on my priority list.
Yeah.
I
also have never played KOTOR, so.
Dude, Will, when I moved to Colorado, spoilers, moving to Colorado where Will's at, that would be sick.
Now. This is not
this is the bonus episode that you'll if I had to choose one, so because I kind of want to go a little bit more, because I feel like I'm trying to think the ratio of Legends to canon that we've done. I feel like this is only the third canon book we've done, right?
Third.
Living Force.
Yeah, which
I wasn't there for that one, so that's the third.
Yeah.
Dark Disciple,
and this.
Yeah,
we did Plagueis was our very first, then we did Dark Disciple, and then we went to Living Force, and then we did the Thrawn trilogy.
Technically, Revenge of the Sith is,
and then Revenge of the Sith is kind of, like I said, it's in this nebulous gray area where it's just the greatest book ever written, the greatest Star Wars book ever written. For me, if I had to pick one that wasn't like a High Republic or whatever, for Legends, it's easily the Bane trilogy. For canon, it's Master and Apprentice. Qui-Gon, Obi, action.
Sick.
That's me.
Let us know. Comments. What do you guys want?
Yeah. We'll sound off in our. I mean, hey, Beyond the Dune Sea people, we're here. We live stream every Monday night, and I believe y'all do episodes and lives every Friday evening. Correct?
It's more like the weekend. That's probably the better way to say it at this point.
They know it's coming.
Yeah, once a week. It's either Friday, Saturday, or Sunday.
Okay. Well, then you can bank on.
We are going live this Friday, though, right?
I think so.
Yeah. First live show in a while. So there you go.
Yeah.
I mean, Connor and Seth do have a Discord, so like, tell you what you think over there. I know people are.
Go over to those guys because they're cooler than us.
Yeah.
I would knock that off.
Go become a part of Focus Squadron.
I was going to say, go fly with the cool guys. Go join that squadron.
You know that image of Arnold Schwarzenegger? And I always forget the other guy's name. Creed, right?
Carl Weathers?
Carl Weathers.
I didn't want to use
that name.
Is that Dylan?
Anyway, that's us.
Name?
Yeah.
Beyond the Dune Sea, determined focus over here. Boom.
I mean, I'm bold enough to say this on live. I firmly believe Connor and Seth are honorary members as well. So just saying.
Am I an actual member? I was. Am I not anymore?
I don't think so. But I mean, we're
what
only
the heck?
Yeah, I don't know.
What the hey, dude?
That's what the hey, dude.
Hold on. Wait.
Yeah, we have 12 members now. Now we can talk about Superman.
Bum, ba, 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 bum. Dude, man, we can talk about all kinds of comics, bro. We can.
How do I join?
Wait.
I don't know how to do it.
Wait.
No, you guys are honorary.
No.
That's cool.
Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Wait, do we haven't?
Come on! No!
No!
Why'd you do that?
Dude, I was one for a while. I don't know what happened.
Standing by.
So here's the thing.
Which focus am I?
That means you're focus 13.
13, baby.
13. Oh my gosh.
Whoa.
Wait, well, let's say because it's Beyond the Dune Sea, it's 13 and 14. You're 13 and 14 together.
Yeah.
No, I'll join.
No.
This
works. It's not the way this works. I will say Gabby's is
What do you mean?
She's focus 10 that she can be focused.
Yeah.
That's
Gabby's got aura.
But yeah. You guys are officially Focus Squadron members. I've been thinking about that for a while, but I was also like, do I want to wait for them to like pick their number? Like, do we throw one in? Like, I didn't want to like, oh, you're Focus 27, and you're like, oh, but I wanted to be 28. You know what I mean? So I didn't want to.
As long as I'm not 6'7".
Force it.
Stop it. Cringe in the stream.
And that's where we will leave you.
And remember, folks. If it's not in our archives, it's simply it don't exist, baby. Bye.
Bye.
I'm so used to having an outro. We need an outro.
Brother, I don't think the stream has ended.
It hasn't.
Oh, my bad. We need an outro.